Good morning and welcome to the December 14th meeting of the Meriwether County Board of Commissioners. We're glad to see all of you here this morning. We have a lot on our agenda. It is a bittersweet day for some of us on the board. It is our last meeting for Commissioner Hines and Commissioner McCoy and myself. I know we all have some family members here. Former Commissioner Freddie Hines is here. Some of my family, my dearest friends are sitting over here, and some of Commissioner McCoy's family is over there. And some of the friends are in the back too. And so we're so glad that you're here. This time we'd like to ask if you have a cell phone, if you'll please turn it off for the remainder of the meeting. We're going to stand for the invocation and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. Let us pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you that you have given us another day. We thank you that we have the opportunity to come together to take care of the business of this county. And dear Lord, as we always do, we ask that you guide our thoughts, our actions, our words, that what we do, first and foremost, is pleasing to you and in the best interest of all of us who live in this county. We thank you for each and every one that is present here this morning. We ask that you give everyone safe travels back to their respective places. And dear Lord, most of all, we thank you for this season that we're in, where we celebrate the birth of our Lord and Savior, and we just thank you for sending him to us. We pray these things in your name. Amen. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Our first order of action will be to adopt the agenda. I know we have a couple of changes. Under public hearing number 2 and 3, is my understanding, those need to be removed due to some advertising differences there, so those will be taken off of the agenda. Are there any other changes? Hearing none, can we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
All in favor? All right, our first item will be the 2022 Service Awards, and if there are any employees that are in the lobby that are receiving a service award, please make your way up here. When we call your name, come over here to Ms. Irizarry, and she's going to present your certificate. Please don't leave after that. Once we have presented all of them, then we'll try to get a group picture over here if we can before everyone leaves, okay? First of all, we have our 5-year awards. This is Ginger Farah for the Sheriff's Office. Okay. David Gross, Public Works. Okay. John Maynard, Recreation. The legend. Jamie Miley, Public Safety. Timothy Morris, Fire and Rescue. Maybe they're all working. David Knowles, Tax Assessors. Heather Purdy, Public Safety. Allison Stevens, Board of Commissioners, and I don't believe Allison is here this year. All right, under 10 years, Sandy Garrett, Fire and Rescue.
Now, you know this is supposed to be 46, not 10.
I don't know.
Yes, ma'am. Small difference.
Valerie Leverett, Sheriff. Sue Gordy, Public Works. Michael Sarno, Sheriff. And then for 25 years, Katrina Owens, 911. All right, we can have all the recipients who are here. You can come back to this corner. We'll ask the Board of Commissioners to come down behind you, and we'll see if we can't get a picture here.
Too cold. Nice out.
Excuse me. Well, I'm gonna see if I got one. 1, 2, 3. Oh. I'm done. Hers now.
There's a laughing one. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can we bring that forward back in?
Congratulations.
During the meeting.
We got 2 on the table.
Okay, so it's only gonna be.
Madam Chairman, are we
We are doing number 2.
Are we dismissed?
You are,
Thank
unless
you.
you just wanna hang out with us.
No, got work to do. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, it's just been brought to my attention that, the case number 2 will continue today. Is that right?
Sandra's up.
Yes,
Is Mr. Jackson here?
Jackson.
Mr. Jackson, okay.
We just wanted to make
Just
sure.
to make sure you were here. All right, so can we have a motion to add, number 2 back to the agenda under public hearings?
So moved.
Right, second?
Second.
All in favor? Okay, thank you, sorry about that. All right, we have a couple other recognitions. This one is in recognition of Randy Carter. In recognition of your hard work and outstanding dedication in the expansion of recreation programs and facilities in Meriwether County, your unwavering commitment to the citizens of our county, and in particular our youth, sets a shining example for everyone to follow. You are one of the true heroes of our county, and we thank you for the untold hours you have dedicated for the betterment of our community through your leadership in recreation. Presented this 14th day of December 2022 by the Meriwether County Board of Commissioners. One more. All right, one other recognition that we would like to make, and this will be read as a proclamation to Theron Gay. Many of you know he came to us on a temporary basis many years ago and has served us well. So let me just read this proclamation. A proclamation to honor Theron Gay upon his retirement and to express sincere appreciation for his outstanding leadership and service to Meriwether County. Whereas on June 3rd, 2015, Theron Gay began his service as the interim county administrator for Meriwether County. The interim position soon changed to the permanent position of county administrator until he stepped back and took on the task of special projects director on September the 13th, 2021. And whereas Theron Gay has been married for 41 years to his lovely wife Kay, and they have 3 children, Joseph, Ashley, and Jim, and 4 grandchildren, Luke, Davis, Ezra, and Eve, and one on the way, Aiden. And whereas Theron Gay is a graduate of Newnan High School and West Georgia College and has dedicated most of his life to public service. He worked with Coweta County for more than 30 years and has worked with Meriwether County for 7 years. Theron Gay is a man who strives to help others and is the definition of a true servant leader. And whereas Theron Gay has provided exemplary leadership while serving Meriwether County. Through his deep dedication and leadership, he has helped Meriwether County move forward and has helped save the taxpayers' money. And whereas Theron Gay has been instrumental in the success of the following projects and tasks: preparing the 2018 Comprehensive Plan Update, which saved the county over $100,000, Splosh, T-Splosh, Fire District Bond, and Fire Bond, which included the building of 7 new fire stations and the remodeling of 1 station, helped to obtain a grant for the Greenville Recreation Park, helped to obtain right-of-way for road projects, expanded the use of LMIG funding by resurfacing roads using a treatment that is more affordable so more miles could be resurfaced, helped to obtain emergency LMIG money to rebuild and stabilize failing culverts, including the Cove Road culverts, overseeing the design, funding, and construction of the parking area around the courthouse and the retention wall stabilization, preparation of numerous ordinances and updates to implement policy, and review, update, and oversee the recodification of the Meriwether County Ordinance Book. And whereas Theron Gay enjoys spending time with his grandchildren and help coach the boys in sports, helping others, hunting, and he is a diehard Alabama fan. And whereas Theron Gay has been an active member in the Kiwanis Club in Coweta County for many years, he also volunteers for numerous events and activities in Meriwether County and surrounding counties. And be it proclaimed by the Meriwether County Board of Commissioners on the 14th day of December 2022 that Theron Gay be and is hereby recognized and commended for his outstanding services to the citizens of Meriwether County. And be it proclaimed further that the Meriwether County Board of Commissioners does hereby extend its congratulations to Theron Gay on his retirement. Yes, let's come down and do a picture.
Family out here in the back too, I just.
Oh, do you have, okay, let's go.
Saw.
Please come on in. You should have just come on in. Come on up here, come on. Darren, will you come over here and do a picture with us?
Yeah, I will, I like the picture.
About as much as you like somebody saying something about you. This is a flag that is flown over the courthouse. Y'all come on up here, Darren.
One, two, three.
Yes, we do. We need to do one with Randy. Are you still here, Randy?
Well, you might have to stand in the back, Ring.
Yeah, he has stayed here.
Yeah.
Hey, this is 2 days in a row. You got me some loot. Darren's about to have a birthday as well.
Yes. Yes. I'm working there.
Thank you.
Thank you, Randy.
And there are a few more recognitions that we would like to do today as well, and I'll sit right here and do these. So what we want to do is a proclamation for the 3 commissioners that are actually leaving. A proclamation to recognize Beth Neely Hadley for her outstanding service to the citizens of Meriwether County as Commissioner for District 5. Whereas Beth Neely Hadley was elected to serve the citizens of Meriwether County as Commissioner District 5 during a special election held on March 16, 2010 to fill the remaining term of her husband, former Commissioner Charles Neely, who passed away on December 1st, 2009. During her time in office, she served as chair in 2015, 2016, 2017, and now again in 2022, and as vice chairman in 2019. And whereas during her time as commissioner, Beth Neely Hadley served as the ACCG legislative coordinator and the Community Action for Improvement Board, Three Rivers RC&D, and on the Camera Ready Committee. And whereas Beth Neely Hadley has been married to her husband, Byron Hadley, for 8 years, and together they have 3 daughters, Lauren Allen, Brittany Carroll, and Shannon Neely, 3 sons, Hunter Hadley, Remington Hadley, and Dalton Hadley, and 13 grandchildren who lovingly call her BB. She has 1 sister, Julie, and is very close to her dear Aunt Nadine. And whereas Beth Neely Hadley is a graduate of Manchester High School and has been a businesswoman in Meriwether County for 21 years, she previously owned and operated Neely Investments, which included the Oil Drop, Tire Center, and Manchester Farm and Garden. She also owned and operated Delano's in Warm Springs. Whereas Beth Neely Hadley is an active member of the First Baptist Church in Manchester, where she serves on numerous committees and sings in the choir and volunteers to be a servant in numerous church activities. She also oversees the faith-based volunteer group Operation Good Neighbor, which celebrates its 40th year this month in assisting families in need with the donation of food boxes and children's gifts during Christmas. Ms. Beth is the go-to person for many who are seeking help to find clothing, food, household items, and assistance with many other needs. Her greatest strength is her strong faith in God and her desire to serve Him through prayer and helping others. She continues as a strong community volunteer with the Warm Springs Merchants Group. She volunteers with numerous activities, annual festivals, and is a huge supporter of tourism through the Chamber of Commerce. After retiring from her business, she missed the interaction with people, so she accepted a part-time position at Dinners Ready by Chad. And whereas Beth Neely Hadley enjoys spending time with her family, traveling, camping, biking, hiking, photography, flower gardening, and making family photos, and now it be proclaimed by the Meriwether County Board of Commissioners on this 14th day of December 2022 that Beth Neely Hadley be and is hereby recognized and commended for her outstanding service to the citizens of Meriwether County. And be it proclaimed further that the Meriwether County Board of Commissioners does hereby extend its best wishes to Beth Hadley on her retirement. So, thank you very much. And there are a couple of other things to do before we move on, but I want to say to Beth that we have had our differences, but we have always been able to work it out. And I will truly cherish our friendship that we have built over this term. So thank you very much.
Ms. Beth, it's a little something else that we wanted to do. Commissioners and staff, worked on this. This is just a small token of appreciation for what you've done for our community. You've been a great leader, a great commissioner. I really enjoyed working with you over the last 7, 8 years, whatever it's been now. It's been a long, long time. But we really, really appreciate all you've done. And when we started going back and thinking about it, you've been involved in a little bit of everything. So we appreciate what you've done, and so that the generations in the future will understand what you have done. The commissioners will be naming today the nature trail at Lake Meriwether, the Beth Neely Hadley Nature Trail. Commissioner, Meriwether County 5th District, 2010 through 2022. Dedicated this 14th day of December 2022. Hiking trail, Meriwether County logo, actual picture of Lake Meriwether in the background. And this is just a sample for you to take home, put on your shelf, and the other sides will be erected at the park under the kiosk.
And we'll have to take pictures when it's done.
Commissioner, Chairman, I do want to make some remarks as well. I want to say personally, thank you for your leadership over the years. It's hard, I know it's not hard to cry. But most of all, I want to thank you when I first came on as a commissioner and how you openly shared things with me and gave me some insight on how big this job really is, how many different things we have to deal with. And I would say to you, in the process of it all, you've always kept a very meek spirit about yourself. Even in those most difficult times, you always seem to keep a balance, and I appreciate that, because like there's always those moments where people don't see things the same way. So you had that kiltering spirit to kind of keep things lined up. And I want you to know that I recognize that, and I think other people did as well. So I appreciate it so much, having to be able to serve with you for the past 8 years.
All right. You have anything? Okay. All right, so we will do the second proclamation, and it is a proclamation to recognize Alfred Buster McCoy for his outstanding service to the citizens of Meriwether County as Commissioner for District 3. Whereas Alfred Buster McCoy was elected to serve the citizens of Meriwether County as Commissioner District 3 and took office on January 1st, 2015. During his time in office, he has served as chairman in 2018 and as vice chairman in 2016, 2017, 2020, and 2021. And whereas during his time as commissioner, Alfred Buster McCoy served as the ACCG Legislative Coordinator on the Airport Authority, Lake Meriwether Advisory Board, alternate to Two Rivers RC&D, and on the West Central Georgia Broadband Joint Development Authority. And whereas Alfred Buster McCoy has been married to his lovely wife Tressa for 18 years, they have 2 daughters, Melanie London and Amy Dees, and 7 grandchildren, Allison Watson, Caleb London, Ansley Clark, Joshua London, Austin Dees, Hannah London, and Abby Dees. And whereas Alfred Buster McCoy graduated from the University of West Georgia with a bachelor's degree in biology, minor in chemistry, and a minor in Latin, he also attended Emmanuel Bible College, where he studied theology, and he worked as a chemist for Georgia Power, auditor for Southern Company, and as a field auditor with merit until his retirement in 2004. He is a machinist, certified welder, certified professional association diving instructor, and earned his pilot's license in 1987. And whereas Alfred Buster McCoy is a veteran and served in the Air Force from 1971 to 1976. He is an active member of the American Legion Post 186 in Greenville, where he served as post commander from 2004 to 2015. A member of the VFW Post 4670 in Warm Springs, Georgia, member of the Aircraft Owners and Pilots Association since 1987, president of the Meriwether County Citizens Awareness Group until 2014, is an active member of the Mount Pilgrim Lutheran Church in Harrelson, Georgia, where he serves as president of the church council and has been a Baptist deacon for 30 years. And whereas Alfred Buster McCoy's hobbies sometimes become comprehensive studies, he has a passion for reading, is a master of woodwork, including milling lumber, aging wood, custom cabinetry, carpentry, creating blueprints, designing, and building layout. Those skills were evident in the construction and installation of the stage at Lake Meriwether. He enjoys metal work. He built an ultralight airplane and has rebuilt several aircraft. And now it be proclaimed by the Meriwether County Board of Commissioners on the 14th day of December 2022 that Alfred Buster McCoy be and is hereby recognized and commended for his outstanding service to the citizens of Meriwether County. And be it proclaimed that Meriwether County Board of Commissioners does hereby extend its best wishes to Alfred Buster McCoy on his retirement. Now, I will say, family, don't leave, because we'll do a group picture of y'all with everything once it's done, okay?
Mr. Buster, I really have enjoyed working with you over the last several years. I remember our first Christmas. No, you do too. We had some severe floods, and Christmas Eve, you and I were down in the creek trying to work on things. And it was a lot of fun. All of you have become my good friends, and I appreciate you more than you know. Mr. Buster, you always were interested in doing things. You were a very active commissioner. One of the places that you really loved and did a lot for was Lake Meriwether. I already mentioned about the stage. There were a lot of other things you did there. So, in honor of that, I wanted today to name the campground, which you've been so instrumental in, the Alfred Buster McCoy Campground at Lake Meriwether. Campground areas, we have a sign that will become, it's a permanent sign, and it will be placed down there under a kiosk, which I need to talk to you about the kiosk. Where you want it. And this is actually also a picture of Lake Meriwether. It has a family there with heading out to fish late in the evening. So, we appreciate you, appreciate all the things you've done there. You kind of turned that place around. You were on the Lake Meriwether board, and we're honored to bring you this today and have this dedicated this 14th day of December of 2022. Okay.
And I also want to say to Buster that it has been an honor to serve with you over the past 8 years, and I look forward to the friendship that we built and the one that will continue as well. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Brian. I think it's at this time I'm supposed to say a few words, and folks, it will be a very few words. I certainly appreciate the opportunity to have served as a commissioner. It was a learning experience as well as a working experience. And as I leave, of course, there's mixed emotions. There's things I wished I had gotten done that I didn't. And there'll be opportunities for those commissioners in the future to jump in and just take over and drive things just forward as they see fit. But all in all, I'd just like to say thank you to the citizens of Meriwether County for that opportunity. That's all.
Go back and say something now. Okay. Is it on? Is my mic on? Anyway, I too have enjoyed serving the citizens of Meriwether County. My grandchildren, some of them here today, they don't know me as anything other than serving on the Board of Commissioners. I started serving just a couple of months before Neely was born, so everything in their life has been planned around the second Wednesday and the fourth Tuesday. Nothing could happen on those days because we had meetings. My family is truly supportive. My husband, my children, grandchildren, and some of my dearest friends are here and in the back too. But the citizens of District 5, you are absolutely the best. A lot of you I have known over probably close to 40 years. Some of you I got to know in later years. And while we did not always agree on everything, we had a good working relationship. And then by being on the board, I've gotten to meet people all over the county. People all over the county, you have invited me into your homes to talk. I cherish the friendships we've made. Again, not always agreeing on everything, and sometimes having to agree to disagree. But it has been a true honor and a privilege to serve the people of Meriwether County, and I hope to still continue to be involved in some way because I'll always care about Meriwether County because this is my home just like it is yours. Thank you.
All right, next proclamation. And y'all, it is harder reading these things up here, so I apologize if I stumble. A proclamation to recognize Shirley Hines for her service to the citizens of Meriwether County as Commissioner of District 1. Whereas Shirley Hines was elected to serve the citizens of Meriwether County as Commissioner, District 1, and took office on January 1st, 2015. During her time in office, she served as Chair of the Board of Commissioners in 2019. And whereas Shirley Hines was well known for her town hall meetings in the effort to share information with her constituents, and where Shirley Hines was a strong supporter of the fire department, public safety, and transportation improvements of Meriwether County, and whereas Shirley Hines served as the ACCG Legislative Coordinator and on the Community Action for Improvement Board during her terms of office. And whereas Shirley Hines was born in Fort Benning, Georgia, I don't think I knew that, and is the eldest of 3 girls, she grew up in Gary, Indiana, and graduated from Columbus State University in Ohio, right?
Columbus in Georgia.
Oh, it was? Oh, okay. Sorry, didn't mean to stop in the middle of it. With a Bachelor of Science degree in health education, she retired as a reservation sales agent with Delta Airlines in Atlanta, Georgia, following 22 years of service. And whereas Shirley Hines and her husband, former Commissioner Freddie Hines, have been happily married for 18 years, her close family members include her mother, Miss Lucinda Irving of Indiana, sisters Linda Wade of Texas and Deborah Holly of Indiana, nephews London Holly and Cayman Holly, and niece Sydney Holly. Whereas Shirley Hines is an active member of St. Paul CME Church in Lone Oak, Georgia, she serves on several boards, including the West Georgia United Way, and helps with several charities. She worked with the Salvation Army to help with the distribution of toys at Christmas for children in need. She is the founder and president of the West Central Georgia Black Chamber of Commerce and is the owner and CEO of Resource Exchange Management Group. And whereas Shirley Hines enjoys entertaining friends and family, gardening, outdoor landscaping, and helping senior citizens. And now it be proclaimed the Meriwether County Board of Commissioners on this 14th day of December 2022 that Shirley Hines be and is hereby recognized and commended for her outstanding service to the citizens of Meriwether County. And be it proclaimed further that the Meriwether County Board of Commissioners does hereby extend its best wishes to Shirley Hines on her retirement.
I would like to say to the commissioners, it's been a pleasure working with all of you. As it's been stated already, there were times when we didn't always agree, but the most important thing was always to be respectful of each other and the different ways, the different information we brought to the group. For the citizens of Meriwether County, it has been such an honor to serve you all, not just District 1, but the entire county. Not a native of Meriwether County, but this is home for me, and it has been a great learning experience. But most of all, what I've learned the most is that we're here to serve and not to be served. And in saying that, is we're here, and this board and any board is here to make the quality of life better for those citizens. And I feel like I've worked hard to make that happen. I'm a strong advocate for transparency. I'm a strong advocate for people's voice being heard. And so I've worked hard to make sure that in my time here on this board that I express your concerns, those things that you wanted to be brought out, and I've done my best to do that. Hopefully you feel I have. But I will say this, I've probably traveled more roads and know more about roads than I would ever know in my lifetime. I remember one time I went to visit someone and I came back and Freddie looked at my car and he says, "You can't do that anymore." He's an advocate of making sure cars are clean and everything. And so he's like, "I'm gonna have to wash your car every other day if you keep going down these roads." So, but I will say this to those citizens who always asked about the conditions of their roads. I feel once again that we as a county has a role to make sure that you have safe roads to be on. So we have done great in reference to roads, but we still got a lot of work to do. But I thank everyone who, even we couldn't get their roads paved or resurfaced, they appreciate the process that we put in place to make things happen. So I'm just so thankful, and I really appreciate all the love and the support. And probably the biggest thing is the fire district, the fire stations. That will always be a very important part for me, and saddened to know that unfortunately Primrose is not going to be built, hasn't been built yet, but I will be a strong advocate to make sure that it does. So once again, thank you all for allowing me to serve you, and thank you all for supporting me over the years. Thank you.
Shirley, I was going to talk about how two of your favorite topics were roads. And when you were not getting your truck, buddy, you were getting The county truck. I always called you the sponge because you wanted to learn as much as you could about the roads. But one of the things that you also was near and dear to you was fire department, okay? And we've not yet finished our work with the fire department. We will continue, and just like you, I have said I will volunteer my time to make sure that program is complete. And this time, we would like to recognize you, Shirley Hines, Commissioner, First District, Meriwether County, 2015 through 2022. Recognition of your support in the creation and expansion of Meriwether County Fire Department. So recognized as 14th day of December 2022. A Meriwether County fire truck, fireman here, fire logo, and Meriwether County. This will be yours to keep, but we have a larger metal sign which we will place in the fire department headquarters for records of your work.
Thank you. I have to say something else. This does my heart well. Thank you all. And I do have a picture of me in my gear. So if you want a picture of me with my gear on, where's Randy? I'm not Randy, Garrett. Sandy. So
Why don't you send that to us?
I have a picture, so thank you all.
We didn't have that of you, but we did have the other.
Thank you.
Skip, do we have the list of accomplishments? Did Allison get that to you? Okay, I'll make sure y'all get a copy of this, like 3 pages long. I mean, we couldn't name everything that you guys have done, but there's a lot. And if you start sitting down and writing it out and thinking about it, you just don't really realize. So I know we're going to have one more short meeting before the end of the year. What I'll do is we'll be sure we have that up on the board and program at that time. Okay, but you guys have done a phenomenal amount of projects here in this county. Y'all have been a fantastic board to work with. I appreciate all of you. Consider all of you my friends. And I just thank y'all as a citizen here, what all y'all have done. We have 3 leaving, and I know we got 3 good people that's going to come in and step in, but we are going to miss you guys.
And I do want to say to Shirley, we did not always agree, but we agreed on more than people know. So we really did. People think that we didn't really agree, but we actually agreed on a whole lot more than the citizens realize. But, you know, I do wish you the best in your retirement, and I appreciate the time that you served on this board. And I know you already have this, but I'm going to give you this extra copy.
Commissioner Hines also is a wealth of knowledge about grants. I don't think there's anybody in Meriwether County that knows as much about grants.
Availability of them in there, so we've appreciated that information that you've always brought to us.
I'd like to say a few comments, and I having served on the Board of Commissioners in all 84 to 86, again in 15 and 16, and then back on the board now with will continue for 2 more years. It has been a pleasure working with these guys. I mean, and of course, I go by first name always, and I apologize if I fail to recognize your title as commissioner or whatever. But to me, these are family, and like any families, we don't always agree. I mean, with you need the diversity, you need the thought input on where we are as a county. And I will say, when I served in 84 to 86 and all, we did a lot of things and all that I'm almost coming full circle, because I was able to help with the dedication of the new fire station in Greenville and all. But I was also on the board when we built the first one, when we first organized as a county to go with a countywide fire system. And we've come a long ways in the years that when you stop and think about it, but we've got a long ways to go. But I encourage everyone that when we work together, we can get so much more done. But the controversies, when people get half-truths or partial truths, or even things that personal agendas, we don't get anywhere. We're constantly fighting. So I would encourage all the citizens of Meriwether County, let's work together to move Meriwether County forward. And you've got a wealth of knowledge up here, and I am so thankful that they're willing to continue their public service, and they're willing to continue to move this county forward. because we do have a lot to offer in this county. And with that being said, thank you each, and Buster, Beth, and Shirley. These are my friends, and I look forward to being able to call on them in the future. Thank y'all.
Yeah, we need to do the family pictures real quick with each commissioner.
May I say something just before we do that, Miss Beth? I think I'd be remiss if I didn't recognize my family back there. Miss Tressa, my wife, she made the attempt to be here this morning, which is great. I've got 2 daughters back there. I got the one that's always quiet. That's and Melanie's back there somewhere in the bunch. And then, she had to take the baby out. Okay. Miss Hannah's my next to the youngest granddaughter. My very youngest granddaughter is Allison. And the middle grandson, Alice, I'm sorry, Abby, forgive me. Abby, please forgive that. I just let it slip out. But you can tell your sister she owes you about $5. And then Josh is my middle grandson right there, so appreciate them being here.
Well, if you don't have to introduce mine too.
You do the same.
Okay. I have my husband Byron, my oldest daughter Lauren, my middle daughter Brittany, my youngest daughter Shannon, and then my grandchildren that are here, I have Neely and Harper and Charlie and the boy that we waited for so long. True, down there on the floor. And then very dear friends, Vicki and Al Oliver, Linus Bridges, Larkin Cunningham, and I think some of her children are with her, and Carter Hudson. They have been supportive of me. Some of them attended many meetings early on just to give me some moral support when we first started, and I appreciate so much y'all all being here today.
Even though half of my family is in Indiana, but I have a wonderful family here, and most of all, I have a very supportive husband, a former commissioner, Mr. Freddie Hines, retired state trooper. A lot of dear friends that I do want to recognize as well, former Commissioner Mary Bray, thank you for being here. My rock, my girl who makes the best shrimp scampi in the world, Susan. You have been such a great person to work with in this county and outside of the county, and I want to thank you for all. I remember when you opened up your restaurant. I remember when you came to my first rural economic development workshop, and you came back and said, I can do this. And what, 6 months later, you had your restaurant open. So I thank you for believing in me and supporting me over the different things I do here in the county and outside of the county. I see my dear neighbor, Debbie Nelson, and her husband, and I see my dear friend, Virginia Hill. And if I overlook anyone else, please don't take it. Oh, Mr. Carter. Hey. So it's just a lot of good familiar face. It is good to see the room full. I mean, I know for me, I pull off your energy. So it's just great to see so many beautiful faces. So thank you.
Can we have the Neely Hadley family?
Is that the largest family in your game?
And friends. Beth, do you want your stuff, or you just gonna leave it?
Let me just get some first, maybe.
Beth, you guys move. All right, everybody look this way. 1, 2, 3. All right. the McCoy family and friends.
Get on down there with them.
Okay.
See.
What you do?
Thank you much, how's it been? Good to see you.
You too.
Respond. Oh. Yeah.
I know.
That's all right. I just, me,
I
make
know.
noise.
All right, everybody. 1, 2, 3. All right. Thank you very much. Miss Shirley? Any friends? Come on up.
And you say you love me, show me.
Miss Mary. How are you?
I'm fine, how you?
Okay, you don't love him then?
Yeah? You don't usually love on me though. All right. Y'all ready? 1, 2, 3. All right. Thank you very much. Excuse me, sweetie. Oh, yeah. We knocked it out. What are we at?
Chip, I do have now a list of the accomplishments. I'll run through and just speak to them, or I'll just give them to you. This is a list of items that we put together. This, I know we missed some things. We just kind of did this, time goes by real quickly, and you forget things. But I did want to point out that some of the wonderful things that you guys have accomplished as a board, and recognize those as we have 3 of the board members leave. One of the things we did, that you guys did, was to create a new fire district. And with that, we had we constructed 70 fire stations. We have 1 planned additional station at Primrose. We have 2 substations we'd like to do, and 1 station remodeled. You guys have bought new fire trucks, new ambulances, you updated fire equipment. We have fully manned fire services now, and of course, we took advantage of the SAFER grant. You utilized surface treatment resurfacing, which again resulted in doubling our number of road miles resurfaced. We're refinishing or resurfacing about 2, then we went to 4. Now we're up to over 10 or 11 miles a year, every year. We had a safety LeBig, which added road stripe and new reflective signage. We acquired additional GDOT funding for bridges. Additional funding above the LeBig, which every county gets, totals approximately $1 million. Guys got extra that was just not out there in the normal course of business. You replaced numerous road culverts using county forces. I know we did 11 of those over a period of time, and I think some more since then, saving substantial taxpayer dollars. It was mentioned earlier, the new courthouse wall was completed, including new sidewalks, parking, crosswalks. We paved the parking lot behind the tax building and building department building, made that a lot better situation there. We completed a streetscape project in conjunction with GDOT in Greenville. We worked to rebuild bridge and culvert structures damaged by the storms using FEMA funds. We bought new public works equipment, including motor graders, grade alls, other equipment to do patching machine, to do work. And we worked with CSX and GDOT to repair several railroad bridges. One of those was prohibiting the citizen from being able to get back to his house. So it took a lot of effort and a lot of work, but you guys got it done. Mentioned the improvements in Lake Meriwether. We got new electrical and water services to be able to hold events at the park. We got new electrical and plumbing for existing camping areas. We got new park signage. We have expanded RV parking with water and electric. Have new bathrooms and showers, new dump station, sewer dump station, new security gate, new stage for event constructed by Commissioner McCoy. We paved, resurfaced the roadway over the dam. We created ADA trails with some grant funds, created the nature trail, the Beth Neely Hadley Nature Trail, along the shoreline of the lake. It's a beautiful trail. We have a new ADA landing and ADA parking. We reworked the boat ramp at the lake and also worked with Georgia DNR to reconstruct the boat ramp at Flint River. You guys worked hard on continuing SPLOST for additional term, including roads and bridges, building renovations, recreation. You also prepared and secured grants for a new recreation park up on McLaughlin Road. It will have a green field, playground equipment, walking trail, nature trail, pavilion, bathrooms, and a dog park. Now, the new shooting range, it was under construction, haven't quite finished it yet, but we will. That's a new inmate crew, which is Peace Watch program was established, approved by the voters, implemented. We've paved 3 dirt roads so far: Mount Pilgrim Road, Peaceful Lane, and Tuskegee Lane. We're also planning to pave Beulah Evans Road in 2023. And we also developed a new criteria for a procedure for application to pave the dirt roads. We completed an update of the comprehensive plan in-house with assistance from Three Rivers Regional Commission. That saved over $100,000 in cost. And quite honestly, I thought it was a much better job than what we've gotten the time before. We completed the service delivery strategy. We did our short-term work program, which is supposed to be a 5-year program. But the year after we checked it, we'd already completed about half of those tasks in 1 year. We recodified the code books. And remember, that may have been the first time that had been done. That was a major undertaking, and it was done in-house working with Meeting Code. We developed new subdivision regulations, which included new pavement specifications and bonding requirements. We had a new road closure procedure. We developed new zoning criteria to allow for a variety of housing opportunities. We had a new ordinance for cell towers that required them to set aside space on the tower for use by Meriwether County Public Safety if we needed it at no cost to the county. Developed a special events ordinance, a farm brewery ordinance, a new timber ordinance, which became the model for the state. At the airport, they've made tremendous strides. We had runway improvements, obstruction clearances. We got a new fueling system there. We got 2 new hangars under construction, and there's been new businesses that have been attracted to the airport. Animal shelter, we constructed a major addition to the shelter using private donations and a Georgia Department of Corrections construction crew. And we've updated our animal control ordinance to allow the health department board to hear dangerous dog cases. Water and sewer, we helped, you guys were instrumental in refinancing the water and sewer debt service to help them be able to better manage their debt. We created the new sewer ordinance. Water and sewer line expansion, continued to explore ways to further expand service. And this says leaded, it should say leased. And it sold the gas line. Gas line was counties just don't manage gas lines well, so we actually leased part of that with a sale at the end of the lease. Finance, Bill Gregory, appreciate all he does and his staff and all the department heads for a good job in financing, but they all took the lead from this board. And we have a balanced budget. We've had no tax increases. We have had no TANs for the last 5 or 6 years, which is phenomenal, because before then, there had been TANs for as long as anyone could remember. And so that's been a great turnaround. You guys also worked hard to develop and maintain good working relationships with municipalities, elected officials, and state agencies. We expanded our IT services. I know sometimes we keep Skip just super busy. We appreciate all he does, and we really have come a long way. Radio communications as well. Done a lot with radio communications. We've updated the 911 facility. It's hard to believe, but they were still working on the building when you guys came on board, and their system. Have an excellent working relationship with elected officials, including the sheriff's office, who is just phenomenal to work with. In the area of industrial development, Ms. Jane, her crew, along with support from her board and along with support from you guys, have worked hard to locate new industry. In Meriwether County, we got the new industry. We got, I guess, a couple new industries going into the industrial park, and another that's in the planning stages. I understand yesterday there was some more opportunities that probably be coming our way. We also have some new industries up on McLaughlin Road, which has turned out, very well as well. Some other things you guys did, you implemented conditional zoning, which helped protect surrounding property owners. Something often overlooked, you enhance the benefits for county employees to help improve retainage. And I know that's very much appreciated. And through all the COVID issues, Meriwether County was able to work. We did not close the county offices here at all, even though we all did share in COVID. And we did not cease providing county services. So I know I've left out a lot, but when you start looking at this and then basically look at the brief short period of time, a lot of folks will try to do 2 major projects a year. You guys way exceeded that, and appreciate all the good work and all the good work that y'all done for the citizens. So just want to point out some of the accomplishments that y'all. Thank y'all.
All right, we'll move along in the agenda to our finance report. Mr. Gregory.
Madam Chair, you have, Board, you have before you the finance report. The general fund is still pretty strong. We should be getting a sizable amount of funds to the tax commissioner's office next week, and we'll probably transfer some of that to the state treasury local investment pool to take advantage of the higher interest rates that they offer. And the reports behind there are the T-SPLOST and SPLOST distributions. And if you look on the second page in the middle column, you'll see that it just keeps going up every month, which is fantastic. SPLOST as well as the T-SPLOST. And unless you have any questions, that's all I have on the finance report.
Anybody have any questions? Comments? All right, thank you, Mr. Gregory. Do we have anyone sign up for citizen comment outside of the public hearings? Okay. All right, next, we have the minutes from the November 22nd, 2022, 6 p.m. regular meeting. We've had an opportunity to look over these minutes. Are there any corrections or changes that need to be made?
Hearing none, I make a motion to accept.
You have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Is this minutes for 22, for November?
With 22nd.
Oh, I was, I didn't know whether you were doing both. So for November the 20th, okay, November 22nd.
All right, next is a special call meeting, November 29th, 2022. We have a motion to approve those.
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
Any abstain? No.
So we have to approve. We have to approve.
Yeah, so they approved. All right, now we're gonna go into public hearing. Let me, we have several to do today, and let me just read how this works for our public hearings. We will, allow reasonable time to address all the agenda items, and we're gonna conduct this meeting in a professional manner. That means we will be respectful of each other, the commission board, and the person who is speaking, whether you agree with them or their opinion. We will not tolerate loud outbursts, talking over anyone, unfounded allegations, or any conduct that disrupts the process of the meeting. If anyone fails to follow these rules, I will call you out of order. If it continues, I will ask that you be removed from the meeting. I will also ask the commission board to hold your comments until after everyone has had an opportunity to speak, unless you have a question for the county staff. Each side is allowed 15 minutes and 5 minutes each side for rebuttal. That's for the total number speaking. If we have 15 people speaking for or against an item, you have 1 minute each. Mr. Bill Gregory will be keeping the time, and when your time is up, you'll have to stop. The county clerk has a sign-up sheet for those wishing to speak. At this time, if you have not signed in to speak at one of the public hearings, please come to the podium and go ahead and sign up. And then we'll get started with our first hearing.
Take those up.
All right, our first public hearing will be Angela Hand, request to rezone 0.12 of an acre within 111 acres from A1 agricultural to A1 special use for the purpose of the R. Groves Hand Family Cemetery. Can I have a motion to go into public hearing?
So moved.
We have a second?
Second.
All in favor? We're in public hearing for number one.
Good morning, Commissioners. Okay, Ms. Hand has brought an application into the Building and Zoning. She's requesting that 0.12 of an acre of her 111 acres to be zoned for a family cemetery. Our ordinances do allow this, but it does have to be allowed under a special use. She's brought before all the deeded paperwork, and it has been advertised properly, and she's here for any questions.
Any board have any questions? Sandy, do you have anything you'd like to say?
I'm just in no hurry to use this cemetery. I don't want to go.
We appreciate that.
Anything else, Ms. Holt?
I recommend approval.
Okay. Anything else from the board? Not having, is anybody present that would like to speak for or against this request? Anybody signed up, or is there anybody?
Okay, hearing none, can we have a motion to go out of public hearing?
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
All in favor? We're out of public hearing. What is the pleasure of the board regarding number one?
I would like to make a recommendation that we do approve, and hopefully it won't be used anytime soon, but I do make, it is my District 2, so I make a motion to approve.
All right, do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Okay, it's approved. Thank you.
Thank you.
And number two, we are doing, that's where we are now, right?
Yes, number 2, we are doing.
Next one will be the request from Andre Jackson and Angelina Carilli to rezone property from LDR to A1 agriculture. Can we have a motion to go into public hearing?
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
All in favor? We're in public hearing for case number 2022007.
Okay, Mr. Jackson has brought an application to the board, to my office, and this is requesting his 45.34 acres be zoned from LDR to A1. Reason being is he would like future use to have a wedding venue. The property is located at Mount Parcel 184-019-009. Is bordered, property is beside north side of Brian Crystal Young, west side and south sides by LAT 33 properties. Letters been mailed to both adjoining properties. There was no opposition. It has been permitted, it has been signage and put in the paper for advertising. Upon review of the ordinances and codes, it does not fall under any restrictions if it is allowed to be rezoned. The property is located in the northeastern part, so way up north of the county, so it's not even near any other venues of this type. I do recommend approval, and Mr. Jackson, Andrew Jackson? Yes, he is here for any questions or anything you'd like to ask about his future use.
Okay, does the board have any questions?
Madam Chair, I do.
Okay.
I just want one thing to, in reference to that Dolly Harris Road, I'm just curious, that's been one of those roads where we've had a lot of repairs, a lot of work has to be done on that road. It's unfortunately, one of the bad roads in the area. Part of it is paved. So I want to know, are you closer to the paved-in area where you come in from Coweta, or are you on the other end of it?
We almost split it right down the middle. We are about 1.5 miles from the Coweta side and just about 1 mile from the Meriwether side of the paved roads.
I'm personally, venues of this nature is very needed. They're very revenue generating, and they're a good opportunity to have in the county. I think the only thing is the amount of traffic when you have events, and I'm just going to be perfectly honest with you, the condition of that road is just really not that great. So at some point in time, there needs to be a discussion as expand how that road and the amount of traffic that's going to be on that road will probably need to be addressed. I'm not sure how it's need to be addressed, but I would tell you, being on this board for the past 8 years, I don't think I've gone a year without not getting at least 10 calls about this particular road. So that's my only concern, is addressing the condition of the roads, not just because you're finna put a venue there, but even for the residents who live on that road. It's just not been something that's been given. It just needs to be addressed. I think that's the main thing I want to say.
Okay. Any other questions? Mr. Jackson, you have anything you would like to say?
I don't, we have been in the wedding industry for a few years now. We have a photo booth company as well. So we have seen venues that have been on roads like this before. So I know that it can work and it can be successful. We've also discussed possibly budgeting in to handle some of the bad spots if we needed to before popular wedding seasons, things like that, which obviously we'd have to discuss the legality and things like that. There is a grading company of some kind on the road that I feel like that's probably causing a lot of damage, as the dump trucks coming in and out. But I know that our neighbors did say that they've had a lot of activity with the county with that road. But as far as we're concerned, we've seen venues that are very successful with similar situations. So we don't see it as an issue on our side, at least.
All right. Does anyone wish to speak for or against this request? I don't have anybody signed up. Is there anyone? All right, anything else from the board? All right, hearing none, can we have a motion to go out of it, public hearing?
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Public hearing. All right, we're back into regular session. What is the pleasure of the board?
This is in District 1, and I think it's a great opportunity for the county to have a venue. So I'm for for approval of this venue.
I'll second it.
All right, all in favor? It's approved. Thank you.
Thank you guys very much. Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, number 3 has been removed. Our next is the discussion of the Meriwether County Planning Commission. Can we have a motion to go into public hearing?
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
All in favor? All right, we're in public hearing. And I believe, Mr. Gay, you're going to start off the,
Yes, ma'am. I'll start off and see if I can clarify. There's a lot of misunderstanding of what we're talking about today. So let me see if I can clarify the reason this issue is back before the board and what the county staff is asking. As you know, Meriwether County's ordinance provides for a planning commission that currently hears rezoning request and makes a recommendation only to the Board of Commissioners. The Planning Commission was likely established many years ago before Meriwether County had a professional planning and zoning office staff, as at times in the past, they were charged with reviewing plans for development and signing off on plans. But most of those old duties have been replaced and reassigned through the years to the county staff. And so today, they really just simply hear those rezoning cases, make a recommendation to the board. And the Planning Commission has remained in place in our ordinances. Okay. Now, I think it's important to note that while it's called a planning commission, they in fact, as a board, do not participate in county planning, future land use, or zoning changes except for those that they're hearing that were made, by people or individuals, and that with the recommendation only coming back to the Board of Commissioners. So the comprehensive plan process opens the door for citizens to be able to participate in future growth, land use, and zoning for the county. And again, the Planning Commission has no responsibilities as a board in that process. Now, as citizens, they can come like everyone else and speak, but their job is not to plan for the county. Their job is to hear a zoning request and then make a recommendation to the board. And the board, can follow that. They can add to it, they can delete it, or they don't have to follow it. They, that's up to the Board of Commissioners. Let's see. All right, in fact, with the Planning Commission's responsibility, again, is to hold that public hearing. And once they hold the public hearing, the Board of Commissioners holds a second public hearing to hear the same request. And the difference is that the applicants, when they come before the Board of Commissioners, they are actually speaking to the board that can make that decision. The first one is not a decision maker, it's just a recommendation. So they go through two hearings, but the one that really matters and the one that really needs to be emphasized is one before the Board of Commissioners, because you guys actually don't hear the board of the Planning Commission's minutes. You see their minutes, but you don't see and don't know what they discussed in there. So it's all new to you when it comes to you. Now, if the Planning Commission makes a recommendation, doesn't make a recommendation, or doesn't have a quorum, the zoning application follows the same procedure, which is to come back to a public hearing for a decision by the Board of Commissioners. So we've heard an argument of, well, we're denying citizens the opportunity to be heard. That doesn't hold water. The citizens do have the opportunity to be heard. The ones that hear it last is the Board of Commissioners, and you guys should be one of the first ones to hear it, in my opinion, because you're the ones that has to make the decision on it. So the citizens have all the opportunity to hear it because all the presentations come directly back to this board, who is the decision maker. Now, while we have followed the Planning Commission process for many years, I will say honestly that I think it's had little to no impact on the board's decision on rezoning, but it does have other ramifications. I don't know that anything that they've come through since I've been here that's been a strong recommendation that you guys said, yeah, that's really important. We're glad that was thought of. You guys look at it again from a clear sheet of paper, as you should do. The ramifications it does have, this is some of the things that goes along with having a Planning Commission. We don't care. We're fine either way. But it extends the rezoning process by at least a month for our citizens and property owners. So property owner comes in, wants to have his property rezoned. Ms. Hand came to have small section cemetery rezoned and approved today. Well, she had to go through Planning Commission, had to have advertisements, have meetings, wait till they finish up, make a recommendation, come back to this board and present it again before she could have a decision on something as simple as cemetery. Another thing is the county taxpayers have to pay for additional advertisement, have to pay to the Planning Commission members who may attend, but may fail to have a quorum. If they all come, we've gotten business done, that's great. But we have two that historically come, and they're usually the ones that are here when we don't have a quorum, but we feel like it's important since they took their time and effort to pay them for attending, and yet we don't end up having a decision or recommendation coming back from the board. Of course, county staff time is used in the preparation and presentation of this. Now, even considering all these facts, the county staff has continued to schedule, advertise, and prepare presentations for the Planning Commission. As I said earlier, we really don't have a problem either way that the board wants to go. This is where the problem comes in. In the last couple of years, we have experienced numerous times when we have failed to have a quorum for the meeting. That leaves the applicant and the citizens who come to speak without a board to hear their support or their opposition. No one here to speak to. We don't think this is fair to the citizens, the applicant, or quite honestly, the planning commission members who do show up. They take their time to come up here and sit, waiting on a fellow member, and the fellow member doesn't show up. I know Cassandra goes through a lot to try to contact everybody. We have Butch in the hall. I think he'll say the same thing. It's difficult to get everyone in. They make a real effort to try to get the board here and schedule it, and it is sometimes difficult. We will share some examples of this. Before you is a chart. All of you have this chart. Okay. All right, this chart shows a few things. It shows the attendance at the planning commission meetings from December of 2020 through December of 2022. And you will note that there were 14 scheduled meetings during that period of time. And only 7 of those times, 50% of the time, did we have a quorum. The other 7 times, we didn't have a quorum. So citizens come, citizens want to speak, applicants come, hoping to get some input on their project, and there's no one here to talk to. Or there's 2 people here and they don't have a quorum. In fact, since Ms. Sharp has been here, has been the director, and she can verify this, I don't think she's had a quorum at any meeting.
I have not.
And last night you had a meeting. You had 2 members show up, no quorum. Okay. Therein is the problem. Considering the lack of attendance and following the Meriwether County Code of Ordinances, because it says in there when we got to check it, and tell you that staff needs to bring this to the board, and staff or the chairman. We're asking that you either do one or 2 things. You either appoint members to the planning commission who will attend, or make changes to the ordinance to prevent this continued waste of time for the taxpayers' money, and have applicants and citizens come and not having anyone to speak to. Now, in reviewing the ordinance in preparation for this, today's meeting, we discovered a few things that quite honestly had not come up before, and we didn't really realize. But there are a couple requirements that were already in the ordinance and intended to address just the problem that we're experiencing. Number 1, it says, no member shall hold any elected public office within Meriwether County. That is in the ordinance very clearly, first page. And it also says, failure to attend 3 consecutive meetings or 4 meetings within a calendar year shall be considered automatic resignation. Now, considering the requirements of the ordinances, only Mr. Sharon and Mr. Trimble have met the criteria for the ordinance. Okay.
Just stay on the board?
Yes, they're the only 2 that have met. They were there last night, right?
Yes.
And they come, I know, in November, and they sit here and don't have anybody to have that 3rd quorum. The remaining 3 members on that board have resigned due to lack of attendance. And in the case of Ms. Nash, she does not meet the criteria for serving due to holding elected office as a mayor of Gate. Now, again, she's been on this board for a long time, and we hadn't really read the criteria for being on there, and we thought everything was good. But in fact, it very clearly says no member shall hold any elected public office within Meriwether County. So right now, we've got a real problem. We have a board that's not attending. We have 2 members who attend pretty faithfully. I'm afraid they're going to get frustrated and not come back because they come and there's not a quorum. 7 out of 14 times, we have not had a quorum. That is interesting. I've heard a lot of buzzing. Some people who have been very outspoken about this and doing away with this or that. We have 1 member who's missed 9 or 10 of those 14 meetings, and has served as chairman. And what we're doing today is we're facing the board that just does not show up. I mean, we can't do the job if they don't come and participate with us. Staff is fine with any direction the board wants to go. Our only recommendation is that you support either one or two actions. Let's reappoint members who are serious about attending and accepting this responsibility on the planning commission without their own agendas. Or two, let's make changes to the county ordinance to bypass the PC process, which is not required by law. And again, it extends, it's more costly, it extends the rezoning time, et cetera. Now, we don't mind planning commission. What we do hate to do is to make arrangements, come up, advertise, pay the members, have the citizens, have the applicants come, and half the time, we don't have anyone here. So we're not all about just doing away with the planning commission. We're all about making it a functional board, if that is a desire. And I think that Butch Oliver's here in the back. I think he could speak to you guys that he had the same issue with, he was working down in the planning and zoning office. So I'd be happy to answer any questions the board has, but we just need some help on resolving this problem.
Okay, do we have any questions from the board?
Madam Chair, I'd like to know, what is the stipend that the individuals get to be on the board?
I think it's $50 a day, $50 a meeting. You said what they pay.
I have to verify that, but that's correct.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's $50 a day.
All right, and the other thing is, so this ordinance, this is the first time that we've looked at this, knowing that it states in here about an elected official, and you're saying this is the first time that we were aware of this? But after looking at the thing.
I mean, we
Okay.
reviewed our ordinances, but we really didn't get into the planning commission because years ago, it functioned pretty well, so we just kind of let it go. We didn't really know until we started looking at it, or certainly I didn't, that it had those restrictions in it.
Okay, and the other thing is, I know that it has been discussed before, so, but my main concern is, when this was brought up, why did we not address it earlier with those who were on the board? Is there a process to say you've missed so many meetings? Did we reach out to them? Did we find out why? You know, this is information to me should have been brought so much sooner to the attention of this board, so it could have been addressed so much sooner. I just want to know.
I want to comment on that part because it was brought to our attention that there was a lack of attendance on that board, and it falls back on us as a Board of Commissioners, the responsibility to look further into it because we appoint those individuals. So I take blame for not looking into the ordinance myself when it was brought to my attention. And I think we as a whole have to take that responsibility and not put it back on staff.
I wasn't indicating it was on staff. I just know, as you stated, it was brought to our attention. So, you know, once again, when things are brought to a board's attention, you know, how do we prioritize? When do we look into it more? This information would have been so good to have much earlier, but I just wanted to get some more clarity on that. So once again, because, you know, there are a lot of reasons why people can't serve. And if we do have this, and I think even when people get on a board or are assigned to a board, there needs to be some kind of follow-up, or, you know, anyone that I've ever assigned to a board, I always made sure we had their resume information thing. And I think when I came on, one of the things was that we did not have a way to contact people that was on certain boards. So I'm just a thought, just something I wanted to clarify.
Here in the ordinance, it says that, you know, it talks about the failure to attend, and it says the chairperson or zone administrator shall inform the zoning. So the chairman has some responsibility in that, to the chairman of the planning
board. And the chairman of the board is who?
Ms. Nash.
Ms. Nash, okay.
And of course, what we kept trying and hoping that it would work. It worked years ago, we had enough people there, and, but we just hadn't been able to work it. We get to several meetings into the year, Sharp says, look, we haven't had anybody come either time. And I was here in November when we looked back and said, we've got to address this from the those boards. So I wish we'd have noticed it too and brought it earlier, but once we found out and understood it, we felt like we had to, for the ordinance, bring it to you guys.
Thank you. And we probably would not have gone and get the rest of this information. I mean, we probably should have done it before now because we knew there was an issue there, granted. But, I mean, we know what the issue is now, but it's not always easy to remove somebody from a board. Of course, there are some things in place in our ordinance, but all of the ones may not fit in that. But what we need is an effective working board, or we need to bypass it to the decision makers anyway. Because, I mean, the people who are applying, it can be a waste of time for them. But like I said,
And we had,
Let them see what-
we had citizens there last night, right? I mean, applicants.
Yeah, applicants, yes.
Yeah. And-
Yes,
and they didn't
applicants.
get to
get to do anything.
do it.
Yeah,
One of the things I'd like to speak on, and I was not aware of some of the problems that we were having. And with that being said, and my questioning Cassandra last week, I believe it was, and all, that members may have inherent issues that we're not even aware of. And if you've reached an age, and I'm right there with it, you don't like driving at night, but the meetings are held at 6 o'clock, and the other members are not aware of that. Or there may be members that don't have access to a computer. We assume that everyone, is computer literate, or that they get their emails or whatever. But there may be people that are still old school that don't want to use the computers. There may be other things that we're not aware of. And then I want to take it from the standpoint, this is being brought to the attention of this board, but better to the citizens of Meriwether County. There again, we need to be working together. If there's an issue, let's resolve it without making any blame or anything else and all. If you're willing to serve on a board and you have problems, make it known going into that participation. I have a job. I cannot attend these meetings or whatever. It might not be a good fit. With that being said, when you're being requested to be a public servant, let us know if there's a problem. And with that, I so appreciate everyone's willingness to serve on any of the boards, whether it's up here or planning or any of the other boards and all. But with that being said, let's make it a viable board. If the people are making the application to put a request in on permitting, give them the courtesy and give your counterparts that's serving on that board the courtesy. No, I can't attend. I have a problem. No, I cannot attend because of X, Y, Z. But there again, that's just out of courtesy. Let's be kind to each other.
And I'll say, I don't think this board, since I've been on it, this is my 10th year, we've never had to cancel a meeting due to a quorum. We have taken the responsibility well, and we have showed up where we needed to be able to serve the people in this county.
If you were to look at the chart that Theron and I have done up, I think the reason it probably got missed is this year alone, there were several months that did not have meetings. And so that might have been the reason that it wasn't really caught or brought to the attentions that they were not showing up. I have made sure that they are emailed, called, messages packages have been mailed to them, packages have been emailed to them. So they have access to everything 2 to 3 weeks before a meeting. So there's no reason why they wouldn't know about a meeting, and there's no reason why they could not contact me and say they could not be at that meeting.
It's been 4 meetings this year, and they've only met one of the 4 times,
Correct.
including last night.
Correct. Correct. So, I mean, it's not that they haven't known about the meetings, it's not that they haven't had the information for the meetings. It's just unfortunately, several are not showing up for them.
Any comments, further comments from the board?
Madam Chair, I do have one, and I guess what is going through my head, the customer is finally the people that's using the office, the citizens of the county. Just a few years back, and I'm going back a little bit, we had an individual that showed up for his public hearing, and he was a little upset because he had started the process in June. I believe it was about November when we heard him. What he wanted to do, he had about 50 acres. He wanted to cut out 2 acres for his child to build a house. Well, because it took 5 months, he lost his contractor. He told us right out there he did. And it got him pushed into the next year. There's really no excuse in somebody applying and having to wait 5 months to build a house. Now, how you want to address this, that's wide open as far as I'm concerned.
And I'll also add, even when there have been meetings that have a quorum to where it has been met, there have been several times, and I cannot quote it, but I do know there are several times to where this planning commission did not even make a decision. They did not make a recommendation. They did not do anything except pass that to the Board of Commissioners because they did not want to give their opinion based on what was before them that night. So not only are we not meeting, we are passing the buck instead of giving what we are responsible for on that board to do. So I also want to say that there has been a lot of social media posts lately since this was advertised. And I wish that the citizens of this county would just take it upon themselves to reach out to us. We're not going to lie. We're just going to tell you the truth. It has been so misconstrued. My sister, who does not even live in this county, receiving information from citizens in this county saying, please tell Brian, this is how we feel, instead of reaching out to me and lives 1 mile from my house. So it has been so blown out of proportion as to what this entire meeting is about. And I will say, as one of 5, I don't want to take anything away from the citizens in this county. I just want the damn thing to work.
All right, anything else from the commissioners? All right, we do have 6 people signed up to speak. It says opposed to the, which I don't know which is really opposed because it was a discussion about either way, but you can say what you want to, so that if all 6 of these do want to speak, you'll have 2.5 minutes each. And we'll start with Tim Brown. If you'll come to the podium and just state your name and address, and then Mr. Gregory will start the timer when you start.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name's Tim Brown. I live at 5323 Alverton Road. And
let me add, let me add some.
Yes,
let me add some. I've got some times written down as they excuse me, approach 12.5 minutes. I'll pull that up for them to see on down to 30 seconds.
Okay, but I mean, we've got 6 people. If all 6 people want to speak, the most each person can get is 2.5 minutes. If you go over, then it's going to cut into somebody else's time.
So he'll know.
My prepared speech this morning, y'all pretty much covered every aspect of it, talking about the responsibility of the Board of Commissioners to appoint new members to the Planning Commission. The Planning Commission is almost a check and balance for the citizens to get to be able to speak about zoning issues. Every county around us, Coweta, Fayette, Spike, Spalding, has planning commissions. Yes, we have had issues throughout the years, but rather than doing away with it, I believe we need to reappoint new members and fix the problem rather than covering it up. And as of right now, I would volunteer, put my name forward to be on the planning commission.
Thank you, appreciate it. All right, next we have Ms. Nash.
First of all, I'd like to thank all of y'all for all of your service, especially Shirley and Beth and Buster, because you're leaving. We appreciate all you have done. We appreciate Mr. Gay and especially Beverly. And the reason I think the commission should go on it, there is a layer of transparency there. It allows people to have more say. And as far as me serving on the board and being an elected official, no one ever gave me any requirements for serving on the board. And I have served on the board for about 20 years. And one thing that is the reason people are not getting to these meetings is your ordinance says fourth Monday of each month is the meeting day. You know, most people plan their calendars at least a month ahead. I do. And a lot of times I'm not getting the notices. I did not know there was a meeting last night. And so it's transparency. It's not knowing the things that should be known. And Three Rivers, we've talked with them and they recommend that we have a planning and zoning board. And that's all I have to say.
All right, thank you.
Thank you all.
All right, Ms. Olvey, I'm sorry, make sure you state your name and address. I forgot to say that with Ms. Nash. I didn't remind you, I'm sorry.
Ruth Nash, 19090 Highway 85, Gay, Georgia.
Thank you. All right, Ms. Olvey?
Susan Olvey, 19075 Highway 85 in Gay. The county ordinance for zoning, it was designed and created to provide procedures for implementing a reasonable path for approval. It's up to this board to make sure that the commission is working. It's your job to make sure the ordinance is followed, just like the meeting scheduled the fourth Monday of every month. Whether you have an agenda for the Board of Commissioners or not, you're going to be here on your planned meeting dates and times. The same thing should apply to the Planning Commission. Whether there is something before the commission, there still needs to be a meeting called on the planned dates. The planned date schedule was basically thrown out the window and meetings scheduled whenever. And that in itself has caused a conflict with maintaining a quorum. And to me, it does add that extra element of time in the public forum for people to become educated and make an educated decision whether they are for or against certain projects, construction, or rezoning. It does state that once something's presented to the Planning Commission, the Planning Commission has up to 45 days to present their recommendations to the Board of Commissioners. That is very important time for the citizens. If you eliminate that time, you're fostering knee-jerk reactions and possible conflicts when there wouldn't be any if people had the time to investigate and learn about what's coming. Growth is coming. There is no doubt about that. But we need as many safeguards in place to keep us from exploding like Noonan. A lot of you remember what Noonan was like back in the day before the expansive growth happened. Is that what we want here? We're a country gym 30 minutes away from every convenience possible. Do we necessarily need all of those conveniences at our back door? Well, the only way to effectively monitor and make sure that what's coming to our county is good for our county is to depend on public opinion. You guys were elected to represent us. Please listen to us and respect what we have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, next we have Mr. Hurd. State your name and address, please.
Ronnie Hurd, 25073 Highway 85, Gay, Georgia. And thank you guys for the service that you've given our county, and especially ones that are leaving. The Planning Commission affords a Board of commissioners an opportunity to understand beforehand what zoning issues are the most troubling for the county, and also allows these issues to be heard before a decision is made. It also allows the community to hear from their neighbors at more than one public hearing. Basically, the community has the ability to speak at more than one hearing. Even though this may seem a little excessive, after a decision has been made, there is less negative impact since the community has had an ample opportunity to speak and voice their concerns. Should the Meriwether County Commission eliminate the Planning Commission, the workload burden of the commission would only grow, with only 5 people making the decisions for the entire county. The public hearings will most likely increase and probably turn into marathon meetings. I would like to encourage the Meriwether County Commission to keep our Planning Commission in place. With the pressure from the metro area coming into our county at an ever-increasing rate, the positives of having this commission outweighs the negatives. We should be installing more growth safeguards to promote and manage a healthy, balanced growth in our county. Please keep our Planning and Zoning Board in place and give them the support and resources they need to operate and serve our county. And by chance, if you can't find enough volunteers to serve, give me a call. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, Mr. Amerson.
Scott Emerson, Lone Oak. We live at the Lone Oak Tree Farm in big metropolis of Lone Oak, Georgia. I'm sure you guys are familiar with that. So, Madam Chairman, other commissioners and the staff, thank you so much for all you do for us. I know it's a real tiring and thankless job. So first of all, we want to say thank you for all you've done for us. A lot of hard work back there, a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes, and you take it all home with you. So first of all, thank you for that. We're residents of Lone Oak. My wife and I, we've been here for about 6 years. And just in the short time that we've been here, there have been some changes that have taken place that are probably a little bit favorable, some in a lot of cases not favorable. And in that, I don't know if there was a, input from this commission or from the board, from the Citizens Commission to have any input on this. We have an RV facility that's close to us. We have a brake factory that's close to us. We have, the ball fields that went away that were close to us. We didn't know anything about that. There were no signs posted. There were no zoning changes put out there to say this is what this was going to be. We drive by it every single day. There's never been a sign out there at one point or another. I don't know if that commission of citizens could have helped that process or not, but I think it's the right of the citizens and the responsibility of the citizens to be able to have a part of that and be that second layer of protection with you guys to make that work well. I think if it's not working the way it's working now, and those people that are appointed that are coming here and not, doing their part, don't change the system, change the people. Change the people. If they're not gonna participate in it, you get new people. It's pretty simple. Get new people that do want to participate and do want to have some sort of input and try to help you guys out as to what's coming. Maybe take a little work off your shoulders because you got a lot out there. Let's see, there's been the changes we brought up about that, the facility there. Just to quote Commissioner Hines, one of the things that you said is you said we need transparency. Without that second layer of citizens there, we lose a little transparency. We lose a little bit of people. Not only do those people get to help you guys make those decisions, they also get to go back to the people around them, their neighbors in the county, and talk about it and say, hey, look, this is what's coming. This is what somebody wants to do. What do you guys think about it? So without that layer of transparency, or without that extra layer in there, we lose a little bit of that transparency. Commissioner Plant said, let's work together. We take that ability away if we take away the ability to have that second layer and other citizens to be in there as well. So we can't really work together. We don't even know what's going on because, as you guys well know, Meriwether County doesn't have a ton of money to throw these things out and put up, people everywhere and, hundreds of staff members. But what we do have is the ability to have somebody that we don't really pay much at all, but to come in and try to help you guys out with the planning and what's coming up. If the meeting dates aren't working, we can change the dates. That's easy enough to change. You guys can change the agenda to say if it's not the fourth Monday, it can be on Wednesday, or it can be a little bit flexible on that. They changed it for yesterday. It just needs to be published so that people can work. My recommendation, keep the committee. Instead of abolishing the committee altogether, is to keep the committee, make the people that are going to be there accountable for either being there or they're gone. You missed 2 meetings, that's it, you're gone. And then you have the meetings in conjunction with your meetings. Have it the day before or the week before so that you don't get into a 6-month, 9-month, time process as to where this is going to go on. And now this guy loses his contractor because the meeting took too long. Just my recommendations. Thanks for your time.
Thank you. All right, next we have Ms. Pritchett.
Well, I'm gonna take a different approach. First off, Susan Pritchett, 375 Corpus Farm Road, Gay, Georgia. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
I did get an email. I had no clue about any of this. I didn't even know we had a planning committee till about a week ago. And yeah, I did get an email, and it was a little on the negative side, but that's all right. I reached out to try to find out what was going on. And of course, I still don't have a clue. So just based on what I've heard, just my opinion, you need to increase the number of people on the board. I do not think you need to eliminate it. Increase it by 1 or 2 people, so you always have a quorum. Somebody's out sick, somebody can't make it. It happens. But to parrot what they said, get people that want to do it. And I do think, and no offense to the mayor of Gay, but I do think it needs to be citizens that aren't elected officials, that aren't in an official capacity of any kind, whether they're county lawyers, whether they're husbands, wives, or whatever, of a commissioner, of any kind of, get the citizens involved. I think if you do away with this commission, all you're doing is you're cutting out a little bit more of us being involved. A lot of the problem that you guys have, that I see, is we ain't doing nothing. That's on us. Eliminating this committee takes away another layer. And I think we, as citizens of this community, need to be more involved. I am guilty as anybody of not getting involved. I like to come make noise, but only when I know what's going on. So I just want y'all to know that I think that this is a way of keeping us involved as a citizen of the county. And, well, Buster, I have to say, I'm really impressed with your resume. I didn't know you knew woodworking. So thank y'all very much. We do hope you keep the commission, and we just leave it up to y'all.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
And Merry Christmas again.
Is there anyone else who wishes to speak? There may be is there a little time left?
Minute 44 seconds.
Okay.
Philip Dow from Lone Oak, 7633 Forest Road, Lone Oak. I just want to say that thank you all for everything that you do. It is a hard job, I know. Also, so on the abolishing the commission, I don't think that that's a good idea. We need to have as much transparency as we can possibly have. That being said, so you have obviously dysfunction within the board in getting a quorum. So I would say, as the board members, to appoint people that can meet the requirements of attendance. And if they are not attending, they're the ones that you appointed. So you call them and find out why that they're not coming. And if you don't get a good response, you ask them to resign, and you replace them. So that's pretty much all I have to say, except that I really, really, really believe all the other counties have the commissions, or the committees. There's a reason for it. And I don't think that we should abolish ours.
Mayor Dow, I agree. My people show up, so y'all have y'all's job.
It's been that part of the time. All right, anybody else?
30 seconds left.
30 seconds.
Excuse me.
30 seconds. I've been on the Water and Sewer Authority for,
Name and address.
my name is Larry Dunaway, 3361 Wilbur Keith Road. The Planning Commission is an important thing to have here in the county. I've been on the Water and Sewer Authority for almost 15 years now. And we go to our meetings, but we have, and it's a challenge for you 5 commissioners to get people that'll be on the committees, I know. So I think you need to keep it. And if you need to make changes in the personnel, then that's the way to fix it.
3 seconds.
Yep, thank you.
All right. Is there anyone else? Or is there anybody speak in favor?
Sorry.
Okay. Okay, all right. Anything else from our staff?
One thing for the board to be cognizant, one thing, like Theron, I don't care what y'all do, but if you do keep this board, you really do need to put some measure in place, because we keep hearing about transparency, but the problem we got is if we're not being transparent because we're not having the meetings and we got citizens showing up. So there's a lot of talk about transparency, but it's only going to be transparent if the process works. So whatever y'all decide, you do need to put something in place if you keep this board to make sure this doesn't happen again. Because this is zoning, it's land use, it's a subject of a lot of litigation. And if this board is not functioning, it's going to create you more headaches than it's going to prevent.
So with what we have in place, we would be able to, or some have already resigned according to what we have in our ordinance.
Well, you would just enforce your ordinance is what you do. You would say you've missed X number of meetings, you are off the board. Okay. Just that simple. You don't call them in for.
Right.
Well, the ordinance is fine. The problem is it's not being applied.
Right.
And that is where we're not being transparent, and you are going to have some headaches you don't want. So, and what is not going to fly when you go to court are excuses as to why you hadn't met, because they are not going to care why you didn't meet. They're only going to be interested that they have not been meeting. So,
And in terms of the time and of meetings and the dates of meetings, November and December have been the only times we've changed, and that's because of holidays. They were in conflict with holidays. There are other call meetings. We generally go with the last Monday in the month. They have some changes. You guys have 2 meetings set a month, but you also have extra call meetings as well.
and this is my point. If we go to court, they're not going to be interested in, yes, we did, no, we didn't. All right. It's did you meet or did you not meet? So that's all I'm interested in.
Okay.
Is that no excuses. If they're not interested in serving, then they don't need to be on the board.
Well, I'll say for one, I do not want it to go away. I hope that it will make life easier for this Board of Commissioners to keep it in place. As I said earlier, I just want it to work and function properly. It's obvious we don't have the right people in place, and we need to go ahead and enforce our ordinance to make sure that we do. I want to thank each and every one of you that stepped up today and said, hey, put my name on the list. That means a lot.
I hope you wrote it down.
Right, because we need that, and that's what we need in the community. We can't go door to door as if we're running for an election again to say, hey, would you like to be on this? We want you to be able to be out there. We want your voices to be heard, and we want to hear those voices back to us. So for 1 of 5, I do not want to see this go away. I do want to see it work, and I want to see it work properly with the correct people that will be there and take it serious, because we do have a current issue.
And if any of you attend our meetings on a regular basis, or you read the minutes, or if you follow online, we go meeting after meeting sometime, tabling an appointment because we can't get anybody to serve.
Right.
And I just did the same thing for water and sewer, and I had to appoint somebody outside of our district because I could not get anybody. Same thing happened with the IDA for our appointment years ago. Again, had to go outside of our district. We have people, we're divided into 5 districts. Most of these boards have supposed to have a person from each district, but there's no way we know everybody. But if you'll volunteer, please turn in your name. I mean, I won't be here, but 2 of the commissioner-elects are out there, at least 2 of them. I saw them. And then these 2 will still be on the board. Give them your name, or try to go to your representative and offer to serve, because like I said, I bet you I tabled water and sewer. I know it was at least 4 months in a row because I couldn't get anybody to serve.
And I did write your name down.
Yes, I too think the board needs to stay existing, and I also believe, listening to the citizens, some of the things they said was very valid. It is another layer for the public to have an input, but I think we may want to go back and look at the ordinance itself. Maybe it needs to be revived. We may want to go look and see what current counties are doing, how they are making this work for them. And the other thing I want to recommend is getting people to serve on a board is challenging, but I know for Troup County, LaGrange, on their website, they have the list of their boards. It tells what the board does and what's expected of them. Maybe we need to have something to let people know what are the different boards that we have if there's an interest. A lot of counties ask for you an application. You can fill it. You can show that you have an interest. If that's your expertise. For me personally, when I've assigned someone to a board, it's good to have someone in my district, but I was looking for the most qualified person. If you weren't in District 1 and you lived in District 3 or 5 and you met those criteria, that was most important to me. So I think at the end of the day, this is a very vital board to have. I think we just need to look at how it's implemented. Maybe need to go back and tweak it as far as when it meets. And I think just the fact that, and Mayor Nash, that you have served on this board for all this time, and once again, appreciate your service, but to not know that there was a stipulation that you could not serve, that once again let us know that we need to go back and look at things and update it. 22 years is a long time to give of your time and find out that you were not even supposed to be on the board. So I think we need to go back and look at some of those things. So that's my personal opinion.
All right, thank you. Anything else from any of the commissioners?
Well, there's one thing I guess that leaps out at me. There's 3 of us about to make some decision here that's going to affect us for about 2 weeks. So the decision we make is going to be affecting the county for a considerable amount of time. That being said, we can go ahead and work with that, or we can kick the ball down the road. I mean, that's about what it boils down to.
Skip, cut it.
Either way is fine.
I'm just kidding.
All right, is there anything else from the commissioners?
I do want to comment on what Commissioner just stated. Even though there are several of us leaving, in the course of being on this board for 8 years we always make decisions that will affect this county 10 and 15 years down the road. So even though we're leaving, we still have a responsibility, I think, to do things that will help enhance and help this county grow. I'm not one for kicking it down the road. I think if we're in a position to make a decision today that will help and show unity, and as Commissioner Planet says, working together, then I think there's an opportunity right now that we can address this now.
Well, I've got to add my 2 cents. Being old school, I was actually on the board in '84 when we actually reached out to at the time, it was Chat Flint Regional Development Commission, where we actually developed or requested a land use plan. I can hear one of my fellow commissioners at that time saying, "You ain't gonna tell me what I'm gonna do with my land." And my response was, what would you do if a shooting range or a landfill wanted to come in next door? With that being said, being very young, I didn't realize how important that was. And with that, I have seen a lot of changes in Meriwether County, and I see a lot of changes come into Meriwether County. We have got to work together. I know that's my little soapbox that I get on when we work together. I am not for doing away with the commission at all, but maybe what we need to do is advertise the criteria for it and try to get people who are willing to serve. And keep in mind, it is not always going to be a fun job, but the main thing is coming together and reaching a consensus for us to move forward together. There's a lot of things that I see on the horizon, but at the same time, we've come a long ways. Mr. Gay and the accomplishments and all that were given earlier, that was through working together, and that's what I want to encourage this board. And I am not for one to do away with the Planning Commission, but let's get people that are willing to serve, that are willing to show up and participate. Thank you.
Okay, if there's nothing else from the commissioners, can we have a motion to go out of public hearing? Have a second? All in favor?
Second, please.
Me and Buster.
All right, what is the pleasure of the board?
I actually do want to put a motion on the floor, and that motion is to enforce our current ordinance that we have. And we need to go ahead and do that ASAP so that once that is enforced, we can move forward with this commission and getting new appointments on that board.
Well, according, I haven't fact checked, but Mr. Gay is generally right in my experience. And so it's not a, we let you, come and talk to us. It's,
No,
you're
we're
off the
enforcing it.
board.
Right,
So,
we're
yeah, I mean,
enforcing
so
that.
y'all can go ahead and be looking for however many
Right.
people are by operation of law or off of it. Y'all can go ahead and be looking to fill those.
But enforcing that ordinance puts it into place that those individuals have removed themselves, and we will be looking forward. So
But they don't have a choice. I mean, they're removed. As long as y'all enforce the ordinance, they don't get to say, no, I don't want to be removed.
We can just send them a letter and notify them.
So my motion is to enforce that ordinance and go ahead and post for the positions that we need to fill.
All right, do we have a second?
I'm going to second that, and with the stipulation that the new incoming board members, they may want to start interviewing or determining any of the requests that have come before today that are willing to serve. You may want to start talking to them. And basically a second on the motion.
All right, all in favor? All right, thank you.
I've got a meeting applications for January already, so we need to try to get that board filled as soon as we can.
I don't think it takes all three of yours away. I think it takes two away.
It takes 3 away.
I don't think so, but we'll look at it.
All right, next we have public hearing about the County Recreation Board. Can we have a motion to go into public hearing?
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
All in favor? All right, we're in public hearing regarding the Meriwether County Recreation Advisory Board.
I guess I'll start this off. The board had a special call meeting on November 29th, 2022. And the issue was the Recreation Advisory Board. Since the creation of this board, I'm reading from the notes of that meeting. Over 6 years ago, we've experienced a high turnover rate in membership, and all of the current member terms have expired. And I don't think they have actually met this year. Before the Board of Commissioners move forward with reappointments, we believe it would be advisable just to review the county ordinance and establish this board as well as their duties and responsibilities, and to allow further discussion. You guys are having the public hearing today. So the matters out there, they too are an advisory board. They have at times been in conflict with what the board commissioners wanted. I think we had a problem early on in determining what their role was and what they wanted their role to be. And so we've been round and round, and just hasn't proven to be a very productive board. And again, I don't think they've met this year. So, before you go back and you start reappointing and starting over again, we just felt like it was good to bring this and ask you guys which direction you want to go with recreation.
Do I understand that everybody's term is expired right now?
Everybody's term is expired.
And I'll say
You
that
got 9 membership. It's a odd membership. It didn't run by commission district. It goes by cities and appointments and one county appointment. So it's an odd configuration of how those appointments come out.
I'll say I know at one point we had less board members, and then we went back and added additional board members at one point, I do believe. It's hard enough to get 5 members. I really see a problem with a 9-member board, and I think we probably need to lessen that if we're going to continue with that board. At this time, I do feel that until we have an actual county-wide established recreation that we are 100% accountable for, that it does not serve a purpose at this point, because the entire reason for that board that we created it was to advise us of what the communities wanted. And that has again been a failed situation with that board. We have had one individual that was the chair of that board that actually presented something to us out of the 6 years that it has been here. And it was a very good presentation. It was very much appreciated. But outside of that, it has not provided this board, as I feel, any recommendations that are foreseeable for us to do at this point until we do have a countywide recreation.
Or any comments from any other commissioners?
Yes, I'd like to make a comment. It's called an advisory board, and that in itself did not make it an easy opportunity for people to have an input and to do. We are probably the only county, and I did my research, that has a recreation advisory board. You either have a board or an authority. You may have an advisory board within the board itself, but we were the only ones who set it up. And unfortunately, and this is just my personal opinion, it was not set up to be successful. Intentions were, but the way it was set up and designed, it did not make an easy process. There were a lot of people who came on the board. I was there at the early stage, really wanted to serve, but once again, there was a lack of direction. Because anytime you get the same people asking you the same question, what am I supposed to be doing? What is our title? And we heard that through the whole time. It was disheartening for me to see so many people come on and leave off the board, but at the end of the day, Meriwether County needs a recreation board. Recreation is an important part of any community. It talks about the quality of life. We know recreation is more than just ball. It's what pushes and market communities now. People determine whether they're going to move to a community based on their recreation, their quality of life that they provide. So I personally think that this board, as the way is written now, the advisory board, will not be able to do the things that it should be doing. It needs to be revived, or you need to just get an entirely recreation board and not have an advisory board.
I have a question, Commissioner Hines. On the other counties that had authority boards, did those counties have established recreation departments? That's what I was referencing is, if we had an established recreation countywide that was under the county taxpayers, then I could see having this board. But those counties that do have authorities, they probably have an established recreation department throughout their county, where we do not. So that's why we probably place this as an advisory board rather than that of an authority, because we are in a contractual agreement with a city within our county to provide services throughout the county. So that's where my thinking is coming from.
And I hear what you're saying, and I think initially when we looked at this, we discussed a board. We had, and give me his name, the gentleman who's over the newspaper, who's from Harris County.
Johnny.
He came in more than willing to work with us because Harris County had just put a program together, and it is maybe 10 years old, and it's the state of the art. I mean, they've built buildings, they have added on a whole lot. And so they started out with a board, and that board brought some things together. So even Johnny, when he first came on, he was on the board initially, kept saying, you're not giving these individuals any authority. They don't have any decision making. And he felt like an advisory board was not the best move. Now, initially, we were supposed to work right along with Manchester, but for whatever reason, that goes back to clarity and full description of what it is that you're asking people to do. There was no good communication even between that, because they were providing the service, but they didn't feel like, okay, how do we get from point A to point B here? And that just never got clearly explained. So once again, I think when we, I'm all about best practice. If someone's doing something very well, let's find out what they're doing and how successful they are. And I think Johnny brought some really good ideas and suggestions. I know Nika Carter brought some things, but if you go back and look at the minutes, Johnny really brought some good sound ideas and showed us how successful Harris County had been. So I personally think if you need to revamp this and go back and look at, see what surrounding counties are doing, then maybe need to, but I think you need a board. Doesn't have to be an authority, because an authority, then like the IDA and all, it works totally different. You have to go through the legislature, but just a regular board.
Well, see, and my thought on this is one that probably needs to move to the new board, because the contract for recreation is up this next year. So this new board is going to be the one to decide, where do we go? Do we continue with that contract? We do something different? And then I think it's gonna come into play whether you need an advisory board or a board itself or authority or whatever. And this is a situation I feel like probably needs to be decided by, because there are gonna have to be decisions made
Right.
next year.
Let's go back
The
to.
biggest thing is, not to cut you off, Commissioner Thagrill, one of the things was why the board was so big was that the cities were the ones who had more of the facilities. The county itself didn't have but one facility, maybe two. So the bulk of everything was within the city, so that's why that contract getting with the cities, because they broke down all the activities, but it was just a lack of communication, not clarity on who's supposed to be doing what, and I think that just needs to be addressed moving forward.
And I think we have a bigger situation with the board right now, since the fact that there has been no meetings this entire year.
But isn't that because it was requested for them not to meet, that it was?
Not that I'm aware of.
Yes, it was.
I said not that I'm aware of.
Oh, okay, and there was a discussion to not move forward with that, and we can go back and look at the minutes, but there was a discussion to have them to move, to not meet again.
Right. So those are my concerns about the entire situation, is if they're not meeting, if they're not providing us with anything that we can actually move forward with, are they really serving a purpose at this point? If we don't have a established countywide recreation department. And if we do, then I feel 100% that we need to continue with that and possibly place that into an authority board instead of a advisory board when and if we get a countywide recreation.
Okay, are there any other comments from the commissioners? All right, we have one person signed up to speak. That's Mr. Dow.
Wrong way.
Wrong paper, okay. So we don't have anybody signed up to speak. Okay, is there anything else from, anybody else out there who does want to speak regarding the recreation?
Madam Chair.
Okay, all right. All right, hearing none, can we have a motion to go out of public hearing?
So moved.
We have a second. All in favor? All right, what is the pleasure of the board regarding the recreation board?
I think we'll just move forward with waiting until next year, but I wanted it put out there since we were stirring the pot enough today. I just thought we might as well stir a little bit more.
Second.
All right, all in favor? All right, thank you.
Kick that can.
Yep.
Do we need to take
Yeah.
5?
Huh?
Do we need to take 5?
Yeah.
Y'all need a 5-minute break? Okay, I'm sorry, 5-minute break, and then we'll get back. Go ahead and get started.
Where are we?
Next, we have appointments. This is Board of Assessors appointment. Come on, lady. All right, next is the appointment to the Board of Assessors to fill a term that will expire on 12/31/2022.
And I will make that appointment as Mr. Greg Hobbs. He has served well for this county and is willing to do that again.
And, excuse me, in the motion, let's make sure that we allow the chair to sign this, please.
Okay.
And allow the chair to sign.
All right, we have a second?
Second.
All in favor? All right.
Thank you for
Thank you
staying.
for serving.
Just as a note for the board, you will have another member that you need for. Right.
If anybody's out there willing to serve, maybe somebody would let us know. That will be the Board of Assessors. We'll have to have another person. Because one of our commissioner-elects was on that board. All right, an unfinished business, the Meriwether County 2023 LMIG projects.
Madam Chair,
Bill is,
he's coming up.
Good morning.
good morning.
Good morning.
All right, we're going to talk about the LMIG project, and historically, the county's been putting about $1.2 million into the resurfacing projects. GDOT's given, in the LMIG program this year, $761,917. They've also committed to another $525,000 to go towards Luthersville Road. And the county will have to match each one of those numbers by 30%. So the total commitment for the county to match those two funds is $386,000 roughly. So we were looking at maybe making a recommendation of upping the contract and the let for the LMIG and the assistance to a total of $2,100,000 for the 2023 program. That would be putting 1 mile of that to Luthersville Road, the additional assistance for another mile. It won't really quite cover a full mile. So that would, if the county commission commits to that, that would take us within about 2,000 feet of the Rocky Mount Road. So we would recommend that we extend that another 2,000 feet to complete it at least up to Rocky Mount Road. And that would be at a price of $1,515,000.
So you're saying almost a half mile before you get to Rocky Mount Road, is that what I'm hearing?
We would be short of 2,000 feet if we commit the 1 mile that we've been doing historically for the past 2 years, and then take the additional $525,000 funds.
It is important to not stop a road project.
In the middle of the road.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So that would take our match to 630,000?
Let's see.
That's 30% of 22.1 million.
Well, that would be the case if we do the 2.1 million. We have to match the 386,075. And we could stop there. Or, and our recommendation is to bump the total project amount up to $2,100,000. And then that would leave us, if we did just the out to the Rocky Mount store, that would leave a balance of approximately $500,000 to either continue another mile or select other projects.
We have historically done more than the 30%. We've historically had about a $1.2 million project. This would be a local commitment of about $810,000 out of SPLOST funds. And I think we've got the funds to be able to collect that one way ahead of schedule.
So that would get us all the way to what you're talking about, would get us all the way to the end of, to Rocky Mount.
It would get us to Rocky Mount, and then if the board approves to extend the program to $2.1 million, there would be another $500,000.
And that would get us to where?
And if you continue that on the Luthersville Road, it'd get us another mile, approximately another mile.
But where does it stop?
Yeah, where does it stop?
It would take us out beyond Alvington Road.
Would it get us to an intersection? Mm-hmm. Okay.
So how would this affect other districts?
If you committed all of this to the program, there would be nothing in any other district. It would all be Luthersville Road.
That would be everything.
Another option would be to try to.
Except for the safety overlay, right?
Yeah, that's right, I forgot.
Forest Road, yes.
That also includes the safety overlay. So then after that would leave $500,000 to go in other projects, whether it be by district or commit to another long collector road in the county that benefited the citizens. So that's what we're kind of bringing to you to kind of get your input on where you want to go.
We have quite a few long roads, and the only way we're ever going to get those done is if we put everything on one road at some point in time. Sort of like what we did with the Cove to get that road done.
But that covered 3 districts.
It did cover 3 districts, but I'm just thinking, I know one I discussed is Stovall Road. That's a long road that's in dire need too, but along with a lot of other roads.
Because I do have some in my district that do need to be redone.
Well, what you're looking at here on Luthersville Road will be 2 districts, and that is those 2 gentlemen sitting right there.
Yeah, got that.
And so what we're really looking at here is just some options. We're looking at adding some extra dollars, taking the 525 from GDOT, the extra funds, committing to that other 1 mile that we've been doing. And at the end of the day, that will leave you then enough dollars at the 2.1, and you correct me if I'm wrong, Bill, to do the Forest Road overlay, safety pools at 85,000, and then still leave about $500,000. So what we're talking about is what do you want to do with that 500,000?
So the 2.1 million would be LMIG, our part would be $810,000, and if we did that particular one, there would be 500,000 left over to distribute out of that.
They would, if we stopped at Rocky Mountain.
Yes, that's right.
And that stopped at the intersection of Rocky Mountain. Right there at the store.
That's right.
And you still have that other remaining the other question I want to ask is, this dollars right here has nothing to do with the safety part? So for those roads that need to be striped and all of that, that's not part of this money?
Yeah, okay, that.
Right, but in these contracts, we do the striping
They do
as part of the
striping with
contract.
this too,
On the
though.
roads that we
But we could do striping
No, no,
on
I'm-
additional roads. Is that
I'm
what you're
saying
talking
the
about?
additional roads, you know, like the roads that has no striping.
Yes.
This budget amount is not included, so when you do that, that's a separate pool of money.
That
That's what
usually
I
comes
wanted-
under the safety
The
limit.
safety limit,
Right.
okay, that's what I wanted to make sure.
I'll say I'm not ready to vote on this today without looking at my district completely.
Now, I've looked, I've tried to go out and look at several.
Right. But I want to look at my district.
That's right, and I've got several that would work for the program that we've been doing on just resurfacing. Same for District 5 and Ms. Rosa, District 2, but District 1 and 3, I'm having an issue with that. Trying to find some candidates for that, so.
I know we've got to get contracts, start letting contracts. I know that's time is of essence, but if this were voted on the first meeting in January, does that create a problem?
I think we'd be okay, but I think by then we do need to have it,
Maybe we could include commissioners,
yeah.
the commissioners-elect in this discussion.
What I would say, if we could just get direction from you guys that, like, for example, that you want to go to Rocky Mount or Lucasville, that you want to do the safety overlay, and then that you want to do the other 500,000 on the individual roads, not necessarily all roads. I think we put some options together and, back on that.
Or you don't approve the 2,100,000 and you just stick to just the commitment for Luthersville
Well,
Road.
we got to get Luthersville Road done, though. And now that we got this extra money from the state, seems to be a good time to do as much as we can because they allowed us this extra dollars. So. Gene and Emmett, do y'all have any comment? Those are y'all's districts. You probably have some opinion later.
We take it up when we're sitting there.
Well, Madam Chair, I do want to say, and you mentioned earlier about me and grants, I asked Michelle to look into this. Everyone's scrapping to pull these dollars in, every county, every city. Luthersville is so crucial because of the amount of traffic, and it's not going to change. That road definitely needs to be addressed. I'm going to ask you all again, please, and if I have to go and talk to someone on our Senate level, we've got to figure out how to pull some more dollars in. I know the state has money from their own opera funds, and then there's money on the federal. At the end of the day, we've got to be a little bit more creative how we can bring some more dollars in, because there's just no way not taking care of Luthersville Road and not taking care of Forest Road, not just because they're in my districts, or in District 1, it's that they're so well-traveled. And as more people start coming in this county, the more they're gonna put wear and tear on our roads. And we've just got to figure out how to get this done.
Would we be okay asking them to proceed with doing it as far as Rocky Mount? And then that first meeting in January, and the overlay on Forest Road? And then in January, talk about the remaining 500,000?
That
One
would
of the
be
biggest
very
things you gotta
acceptable
commit,
to me.
or are you gonna commit the
We have to commit
2,100,000?
one way or the other, I think.
Yeah, if we could commit to the number.
I don't have any
2,100,000.
problem with being able to commit to the 2.1, because like I said, our Splosh and T-Splosh dollars are up. They're way above projections, so we have extra dollars there, and who knows, we may not have it later. But that's what it's for.
And while you've
It's for
got
the-
the contractor there, they're gonna do it as cheap as they ever will. If they have to come back and do it later. What I might suggest is this, that we tweak down and, you guys are gonna have another short meeting.
So that's just to clear the minutes.
Just to clear.
Basically, right.
If we do something else, then we're gonna have to have another meeting to clear that too.
Clear that, yeah.
What you would have though is you could vote you could decide on the big numbers then, we could go ahead and submit it prior to the end of the year. And then we would involve the new board members, and so they would be on board too. We could just say, approved, and when the minutes come up, they could approve it first meeting in January. That will buy us 2 or 3 weeks to be able to get it to GDOT.
Because it has to be to GDOT before the end of this year.
It likes to be, but I think it's February.
February.
February is the due
Deadline,
date. They are
but,
pushing for it to come
You know,
sooner.
they want it soon.
Well, I think we're all agreed to go to Rocky Mount Store. It's that mile beyond that we're talking about, right?
Or committing, if you're not gonna commit to the total 2,000,001, the minimum amount for the total commit with this GDOT and the county funds is 1,672,000.
But the 2 million gets
So
you to.
that would put you short of anything else
But it
outside.
gets you to doing up to Rocky Mount
Yes, ma'am.
Road, and then what do you have left to do? Or like if Commissioner Threadgill said he has but he wanna look, isn't there still, what'd you say, 500?
500,000.
Left
There
to.
there is if you approve to extend the amount of money to 2,000,001. If
We
you
go to
don't,
2.1, then you're gonna have 500,000
if
left.
you don't, then we're gonna, the minimum will be 1,600,000.
Well, if those of y'all that'll go approve it, as long as y'all give me the extra 500,000 for my district, I'm fine.
Okay, I'll give it to you.
Other than that, no.
Well, we could do the 2.1 today and then get, and have a direction from you guys, talking with y'all in the new members, that we determine which roads we're gonna cover with that remaining $500,000. And then bring that back. I think that will get us.
Well, according to what Bill just gave me, I got the 500 covered.
Yeah.
Those are some ideas, but that, like LL Revel's gonna be very expensive. Yeah.
So I'm taking 3/4.
Those are some options for you to look at.
I would make a motion to go with the 2.1.
Let me ask before we do anything else, are we certain that it will give an additional 500,000 to be divided out? Because we usually get about 100,000 each district or so to do stuff. Is it definitely gonna be $500,000?
If you
I don't wanna
approve.
come back and be, oh, it's 200,000.
Well, this
Well, until we let the bids, we don't really know our prices, but
It shouldn't be that much difference, though. I mean, it may be a little difference
But
one
there
or the other.
again, until we let it, we don't know. We've always hit it pretty close, on the pavement anyway, so, I think we would be good on that.
I mean, out of that, if
It
it's
should
the
have been brought
2.1.
to us at our last meeting in November, so we could have had time to do it instead
Well,
of
we did
now.
talk about it, but we
Right,
had to go
not the
back and get
numbers.
more
But
information,
we didn't
though.
have these numbers.
But we didn't know for sure the state was gonna let us move that money.
That's true.
Just so that I understand, we're talking about, the first thing is the option one, right? That's gonna be the ideal situation where the estimated cost,
Well, option one would be the entire 2.1 would go to Luthersville.
okay?
So,
But that's the recommendation.
no, that's just an option. Our recommendation is take it to Rocky
You
Mount
got the
Road.
2.1, then you got
That is it.
3 options underneath that, how you spend it.
And today, I think what I'm hearing for discussion is take take the Luthersville Road to Rocky Mount. Do the safety overlay, and then after, on Forest, and then after that, you'll have approximately $500,000 left to do some of the other shorter roads or one long stretch of road, if that's what.
But the main thing is today, we need to commit to 2.1.
Right, that way we know what to work with, and we can.
Exactly. So,
The GDOT commitment is 1,200,000 with, if you combine their assistance and the LMIG together. So you're already at 1,200,000 there. So to get anything else, you would need to up that total amount.
My motion was to go with the 2.1 and then allow the additional funds left over, that big discussion with the new board and decide how to go or where to go.
I'll second that.
Okay.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Y'all better get my 500,000.
We'll bring some roads back, okay? Now that we know what those roads are.
All right, next, we're moving on to new business, the 2023 workers' compensation proposal and recommendation. I think this was for once some good news, wasn't it? Is this the one you gave us the?
Yes, ma'am, that is. I apologize, my voice may go out. If it does, Michelle follow with me. I'm sorry.
You got something in front of you? Bill, do we need to put a timer on you?
Choke on the water.
Okay. What you got in front of you is the breakdown from the bids we received for the workers' comp renewal at January 1. Through our broker, Chris Walker with J. Smith Lanier out of Columbus, he got bids from Itco Seville at $182,440, and COVA Insurance $184,39, National Liability at $178,585, and Key Risk Insurance at $174,566. Our current program is with ACCG's insurance pool, and their original quote was $205,968. After having conversations with them through Beverly, Michelle, and myself, they came back with a rate reduction down to $191,640. That is about 10 to 12,000 more than the Key Risk, but there are some advantages of staying in the ACCG pool. There's advantages and disadvantages. The advantage would be that we've been in that program for 3 years, and 2 more years we'll be able to participate in the dividends that they pay out. Those dividends are not guaranteed, but they have paid out dividends the past 3 or 4 years. And all the programs that they offer that we take advantage of. The disadvantage is that they are $12,000 more than Key Risk. We have used Key Risk in the past, and we had a great relationship with them, but due to some high claims we had that they weren't competitive anymore, and that's when ACCG came in. So the question we need to talk about is whether or not we want to stay with the ACCG pool or go to Key Risk.
The recommendation is to stay with ACCG.
I don't think we've made a recommendation.
So what are y'all's thoughts?
I think we'll talk about that.
There have also been some conversation regarding current claims and how that would be handled, and nothing would change. I mean, it would change, but there would be no additional expense to the county.
If we stay.
Or if we change.
Oh,
If we do change.
Okay.
With the current claims that we do have. Correct, Bill?
So if we stay with ACCG, there will be changes?
No, there will not. That's who is our current provider.
So there'll be no changes if we
did.
And the company as well.
So what is the 15,000 reduction? That's what they gave ACCG?
Originally, it's about 30,000.
Well, it says right here, 7.5% reduction with 15,538 at the very bottom of that front page. I don't see 30, I see 15.
In front of this page.
Let me find the page, I'm sorry.
And I think that was with the original quote, correct, Bill?
Yeah, that letter came out with it.
With that 205,968. Yesterday, we received the 191,640.
205,968 minus the 191 is 15,538.
Okay. Anybody have any questions?
We'll try to answer the questions.
Yeah, and
Any questions you have.
is Chris Walker on?
Anybody have any?
Chris Walker.
I don't
No,
think he is. He had a
ACCG
prior commitment.
Joe Dan is on.
Joe Dan's on that.
Well, it says workers' compensation proposal and recommendation. So I was waiting on a recommendation.
Recommendation from staff would be the low bidder.
You got the low bidder.
Or the lowest quote.
If we go with Key Risk, that's not to say that they got a low quote next year.
It can change.
Then they jack it up.
That usually happens with insurance.
And then the dividends we would have in the next couple of years through ACCG.
If we
We haven't
remain
paid
there.
those out, so that's something to
Consider.
You just don't know whether or not those are gonna exceed your,
Claims.
your claim or your extra,
Or your
or your extra
premiums.
dollars you're gonna pay, because it's about 12 a year more. $12,000 more.
16.
16.
That's for this current year.
At Key Risk, y'all have used before.
We have used before. We're
have
very satisfied with
You know,
it.
they're very good when you have before. All goes back to claims, what happens each year, what.
We don't have any.
You don't have.
ACCG takes a lot of people into consideration, and
But isn't that a bigger pool? And that's the advantage of being with ACCG with all the other, with all the other counties, that the pool is bigger, so it keeps your costs down. And how long have?
Great company, both of them, you know, Key Risk and ACCG.
What was the lowest bid?
Is Key
Yeah,
Risk
but what was the amount?
174,566.
Yeah.
That's 16,000 less than.
Yeah.
Then the reduced amount ACCG came back with. Now, these other companies also provide insurance for private, not just governments. So while ACCG may be the leader with government, because that's their specialty, these do also provide for private companies.
So they have a pool.
So they have a pool as well.
Well, once again, thank you for putting this information together, but I'm like Commissioner Threadgill now, if you brought all this and you don't have a recommendation?
My recommendation is for the lowest quote.
The lowest quote, okay.
And there has been experience with Key Risk and Meriwether County in the past without any negative comments.
But our biggest challenge is a number of claims that we have.
That's
the
and that
biggest
just
challenge.
varies year to year. That's just part of workers' comp.
I make a motion to accept as the lowest bid.
Do we have a second?
And
Second.
sign the binding agreement for this.
Allow the chair to sign binding agreement.
Do we have a second?
Yes, I did.
All in favor? All right,
Thank you.
thank you. Number 2, set a special call meeting prior to January 1 to approve the December 2022 minutes.
As we've discussed, in order to approve the minutes, we'd like to get the current Board of Commissioners back to approve those minutes and are looking for a date to do so.
December 25th. Wouldn't you have a nice quiet meeting?
I was thinking December 31st at 11 p.m.
Yeah. Sometime after, I think we're closing on 26, sometime 27, 28, 29 might work best. I think Nathan, you should be available.
You need to do it before.
What was I gonna say?
Close on 26, yeah.
Well, Beverly, we don't need to take 2 weeks to get the minutes. When will you have them ready? Because that depends on it. I mean, we go ahead and set it and push you, or what do you want us to do?
Don't do anything tomorrow, you know.
I think next week.
Would we be better off to keep it the regular meeting that has been canceled and just keep it a very short special call meeting?
That would put it the 28th.
27 to 6.
6, we could do
Let's just
that.
do
Will
that.
that work?
Yeah, let's just do that.
What time?
6, regular
That'll
time.
be just to approve the minutes.
Just approve it.
All right, do we have a motion to set that for December the 27th at
So
6
moved.
p.m.? Second?
Second.
All in favor? Okay, next, acceptance of a right-of-way deed and bond for Chambliss Village subdivision.
Okay, but
Oh, wait,
Number 3.
What?
Number 3, set the.
Oh, I'm sorry, I skipped that. Set the 2023 meeting and holiday schedule. You have a copy of that in your package. It's the meeting schedule and the holiday schedule. Anybody have any questions on that?
Make a motion to accept.
Have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Now we'll move on to number 4, acceptance of the right-of-way deed and bond for Chambliss Village subdivision.
Madam Chairman, Commissioners, we would like to continue this to the next meeting. I've been working with them with the bond, and they had bonded, and sent the bond back on the, what I call phase 1 of it. Now they have completed phase 2, and they feel like it would be best, and I do too, if they just bonded it under one bond. So they're in the process of correcting that bond, and I'm gonna have to write up the deeds to reflect the deed we already looked at was just for phase 1. I'm gonna have to include phase 2 and get that to Nathan. And so we'll have that back, hopefully, if they'll go ahead and get us information for the first meeting in January. But we'll go ahead and have the issue papers all written up and the deeds ready to go.
Okay, can we have a motion to table this to the next meeting?
Motion to continue, isn't it?
Second?
Second in the January meeting, clarification.
Oh, yes, excuse me,
That will be
January
fine.
meeting, yes. All in favor? Next, we need to confirm the purchase of a vehicle for the sheriff's office to replace one that was involved in an accident. I know we had received some information on this, and this is just to confirm that purchase. Can we have a motion?
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
All in favor? All right, River Cove Culvert Pipes invoice.
Madam Chair, in the past, we've covered culvert replacements with T-Splosh funds. Excuse me. If we do have a budget in the general fund for these pipes, but these pipes being $30,000 will eat up the budget we have. Only just 2 months into the budget period. So we'll have the board consider covering the cost of these pipes at River Cove Road through T-Splosh.
Do we have any questions or? Can we have a motion to approve to pay for these culvert pipes through T-Splosh?
Motion to approve.
We have a second? Second. All in favor? I think that money's coming in ahead of schedule.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
All right, next we have a report from our county administrator.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I want to thank all of you that are leaving the board, and even though we'll see you next meeting. But thank you for working with me, especially. I appreciate it. I do want to send around some pictures. This is pictures from Miss Bo Kim from the Korean guest house or kitchen, who made a donation to the sheriff's office, fire department, and the school system. So there's 3 pictures in here. They did this last year as well around Thanksgiving, and it's part of the community giving back to us, which doesn't happen often, but we're very thankful. So I'll pass those pictures around to y'all. We received an email from GDOT, and we'll have a meeting with them on Friday. It's going to be in regards to a project on State Route 362, the bridge over Red Oak Creek, and we'll discuss any of the detours and things of that nature and any impact it might have on the county. So we've got that scheduled for, I'm sorry I said Friday, but it is for tomorrow at 10:30. We are still looking for a building inspector and have many openings that are on our website. So if you know anyone in need of a job, please refer them to our website. And we have a chief appraiser, Mr. William Harris, who will be beginning on the 19th of this month. So we look forward to that. And that's all I have.
All right, thank you. Report from our county attorney. Next from our county commissioners, Commissioner Hines.
Yes, Skip, can you show my picture? It didn't show up? Wow. Okay. Well, once again, want to say to everyone, it's been an enjoyable time serving as a commissioner for District 1 as well as for Meriwether County, and I thank God for the opportunity to be able to serve these past 8 years. And even though I no longer will sit at this particular position anymore, I'm a servant at heart, and I'll still be an active part in the community. And so whatever I can do to help further the growth, positive growth, and the quality of life for Meriwether County, I will do that. So I thank everyone for allowing me to serve and to be a part of this. So thank you. That's all I have.
All right, thank you. Commissioner Plant?
I just want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas, and I want to thank all the municipalities and especially Beverly for organizing the trees around the court square. And if you've not been around downtown Greenville at night, the lights are very pretty. And I know we've had some strong winds and issues as far as keeping the trees upright, but so far they are absolutely beautiful, and I appreciate all the municipalities taking the time to decorate. And with that, I'm kind of bittersweet for this meeting to be losing 3 of my buddies, but wish them well and wish them all the very best. That's it.
I just once again want to say thank you for the opportunity to serve District 5. It has certainly been a pleasure and an honor to serve. I do want to continue to stay involved. I'll always be concerned what's going on with the county. To my fellow commissioners, it has been a pleasure working with everyone. We have gotten a lot accomplished over all of these years, but there is still a lot to be done. I wish the oncoming commissioners the best in the new year. I'm sorry the one from District 5 couldn't be here today. He's been here at all of our other meetings. I think Adam will do a good job, and look forward to helping him in any way that I can. Merry Christmas.
And I just want to say Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And I will tell you a little something that I called Beth about. I feel bad that all these individuals here are leaving. And like I said before, I was asked to run again. So I did a 3rd term, and now they're leaving me. But I called Beth one day and I said, I have a question for you. am I the reason you're leaving? Because everybody knows I can be a handful. And she was like, absolutely not, but I think she was lying. I will truly miss all of you, and it was a pleasure serving with you, so thank you.
I'm gonna have to tap you on your leg. Commissioner McCoy.
Again, I wish to say a happy Christmas, or Merry Christmas to everybody out there. And a Happy New Year also, even though we have one more meeting. I guess when I look back over the years, I certainly have enjoyed working with you folk. It has been quite an experience, something I don't think many get in a lifetime, is understanding this thing with public service. And it comes with a mixed flow of emotions also, I will say that. Just earlier this week, we had the Airport Authority meeting, which I usually attend those meetings. This was my first as a member of the Airport Authority, and I actually sat on that. And there's a lot of good things going on down at the airport. We've got new hangars going up. It's just amazing, all the stuff that's taking place there, and I hope that continues. And to those that are coming on, I wish you the very best. I really do, because there's times when you're going to need it. There's times when you're going to want to pull your hair out. And there's times when you're going to want to throw your phone away. But other than that, there's good things to do. There's people that will occasionally call and say, look, I appreciate what you do. And that's kind of what makes it good for all of us. But other than that, I just want to fade into the sunset. Talk to y'all later. Bye-bye.
Don't forget Santa's flying into the airport.
Oh my goodness, I have forgotten that. Santa's supposed to come to the airport let's see, this is Thursday. That will be tomorrow. If you can make it down there, and if I remember the times, I believe it's 4 to 7.
Yeah.
Pretty close.
They're gonna have activities for the kids and
That's
stuff.
right. There will be activities for the kids. Thank you. Forgot that, Miss Rosalie.
I don't know if we need to have an executive session, but I would like to go in executive session for legal.
Okay, all right.
Legal, you got litigation.
Litigation, I'm sorry.
Okay.
And
Our county attorney, I know you said you've got to leave, you've got a
I
funeral.
have to be at Judge Drake's funeral. I have to leave. He's passed on. He will hold me in contempt of court if I'm not there on time. So I need to be walking out of this building.
Okay, okay. All right, so we're gonna need to go into executive session for litigation
and personnel.
and personnel. Okay, our future meetings, well, first notices, December 23rd and 26th, the offices will be closed for the Christmas holidays. It does say our regular meeting on the 27th was canceled, but we will have it at 6 PM for the purpose of approving the minutes. Have a motion to go into executive session.
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
All in favor? All right, we're in executive session. First of all, can we have a motion to go back into regular session?
What was your motion, please?
I made the motion, Rosalind made the second to go out. Sorry.
All right, have a motion to go back into regular session.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? All right, there was action taken during the executive session. We have a motion to approve requests from 2 employees for unpaid leave of absence.
So moved.
We have a second?
Second.
All in favor? All right, any other business to come before the board? Hearing none, can we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
We have a second?
Second.
All in favor? We are adjourned. Thank you.